Hey guys, quick announcement. My friend made a podcast called Old Ang Ween, so please go and check it so he can get all the money he needs to feed the kids in his large basement. So make sure to check his podcast. Link is in the description. Thanks.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrubby here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I've got a dumb criminal that might break the record for the dumbest thing we've ever seen someone do on the channel. And if you've watched the videos before, you know we talk about some pretty dumb criminals. Basically, this guy decided to steal a police car. Now, that's dumb enough. They're gonna find you. They're gonna track you down. Pretty sure the police has GPS on their police cars. I'm just saying that's probably a thing. I can't say that for a fact, but I'm gonna assume. But on top of that, after stealing the police car, apparently he wasn't done, and the reason he stole it was to LARP, because he ended up showing up to a call that had gone out for officers in their car, like listening to the radio, drunk, and tried to de-escalate the situation with the people who were like, "Who are you? We called the cops, not a random drunk guy." It's nuts, but we gotta talk about it. Man steals patrol car and responds to call intoxicated. Like, I don't know why you would choose to steal a police car. Just don't steal any car. Grand Theft Auto is not a very sick crime. But that being said, if you're gonna steal a cop car's gotta be the worst one. And what makes you, when you're like in the cop car you just stole, think, I better go respond to this call, because when the real cops show up, they won't be mad that I'm there. They're gonna be like, oh, sick, 2 birds with 1 stone. We're responding to the call, and we're gonna get the dummy that stole a cop car earlier tonight. Literally the easiest job of all time. Jeremiah James Taylor, 33, allegedly broke into the unstaffed Park County Sheriff's Lake George substation and stole a marked 2013 Dodge Durango, and he went to the location of a domestic violence call before 3:30 a.m. that was broadcast on the Teller County Police Channel. The people at the home said he appeared to be intoxicated and asked, "Where's the old man that's gonna shoot someone?" When Teller County Sheriff deputies arrived, he sped off. He really thought it was Grand Theft Auto, where you can go to the police station and like steal your car back when it's impounded. I cannot believe that he stole a cop car, hopped on the radio, and then went. Obviously, whatever situation he responded to, the real cops were going to be there trying to like prevent it from getting out of control and actually help the people. But imagine before the real cops get there, you see the cop car pull up, you go outside, you're like, here's the situation, here's what's going on, and out hops just some drunk dude who's like, hey, where's the guy of the 911 call? I just am a police officer and I saved the day. And you're like, I may not be the sharpest tool in the shed, but I can venture out and guess that you might not be a real cop. No, I am. What gave away that I'm not a real cop? I don't know. I don't think cops are allowed to be drunk while driving their police car. Unless they're trying to not be a cop anymore. Like, you're definitely getting fired if you start showing up to calls drunk. Hello, everybody. Is there a cat in the tree? Yes, there is. Well, then I'll hit it with my car. Like, I don't know if they would be very cool with that. I can't believe he was still there when the real cops pulled up, too. They pulled up and said, hey, wait, he's still here? Hold on. Who is that? Is that the stolen car? What? I made a joke about 2 birds with 1 stone because I thought there was no way he was dumb enough to just stay there that long, but apparently he was. It should have been obvious. If this was already a not very well thought out crime, I should have known there was going to be no further thought into it. One of my biggest concerns was that we were going to have a high-speed pursuit with a law enforcement vehicle crashing into an innocent citizen, Park County Sheriff Tom McGraw said. Taylor was spotted 2 hours later, and when deputies pursued him, they say he took off, hitting speeds of 110 miles per hour, broke several traffic laws during the chase. Bro, the sheriff's name is like a knockoff Tim McGraw, though. Mom, can we go see a country concert? No, we have Tim McGraw at home. Tim McGraw at home? Hi, I'm Sheriff Tom McGraw. This guy really loved his stolen cop car. He stole the cop car, goes to the call. The police shows up, so he runs away. And instead of getting out of the cop car, putting it back, anything of the sort, just running, he just keeps driving around for 2 hours, just responding to different calls. How many people were like, yeah, I called the cops and some random drunk guy showed up. That was weird. I mean, you think he would get out of the car at some point and realize the gig is up. They know that he's stolen the car, but just keeping it cruising for as long as possible is a very bizarre move if you don't want to get caught. Nah, whatever. They'll just think I'm one of their cars. Did he not realize that they're all like marked with different numbers and it's very obvious to everybody which one is taken because they'll just tell them what number is taken? Ah, it's the ultimate cover. If I'm in a cop car, the police will never know I'm not one of them. He thinks he's like Solid Snake in the cardboard box crawling around in Metal Gear Solid. That level of disguise, everybody knew. 110 miles per hour, that's absolutely nuts. You know you would be confused if you're just driving down the road and a police car flies past you at 110 without the lights on, and then a bunch of other cop cars chasing that car. You're like, well, did he go rogue or what is going on? Is this just training? The police are just out practicing their high-speed chase by having one of their friends drive 110 around on the roads. Taylor crashed on Matacat Road around mile marker 4 and ran into the woods, police said. When deputies caught up with him, he was armed with a knife and non-compliant, and they deployed a taser and an officer shot one round. No deputies were injured. The sheriff's office said Taylor suffered self-inflicted knife wounds and was taken to the hospital after he was taken into custody. In addition to the list of charges he's facing for the incident, he was also on probation for menacing, theft, and DUI, along with being investigated for several other crimes that occurred in the area previous to the Park County Sheriff's Office burglary. And the charges in this case are aggravated motor vehicle theft, vehicular eluding, impersonating a peace officer, obstruction, resisting arrest, reckless endangerment, second-degree burglary, and reckless driving. Dude, that list sounded more like a bad guy's to-do list than it should be one guy's charges for a single night, you know? Like, tell me that's not something you would see hanging up in a superhero movie in the villain's lair. To do aggravated robbery, to do vehicular eluding. Like, he's just going through all these. The impersonating a peace officer is one of the more interesting ones. That's what happens when you're driving around in a cop car. And responding to calls, I just really don't know what this guy was thinking. And the fact that he was in it for hours, did he just not think he was going to get caught? And plus, I don't know for sure, this is all alleged, you know. If he is allegedly behind some insane crime wave in the area, then they're definitely going to investigate it very thoroughly now. If there's one way to guarantee you stay on the police's radar, it's probably breaking into one of their stations, stealing a car, taking them on a chase, and then making them chase you through the woods. Like, that's probably gonna make them pay some closer attention to you from henceforth. So if you are a career criminal, what, did you just want to play on the hardcore playthrough? I think a high-speed chase in general is always a horrible idea, but it's especially a bad idea if you're intoxicated driving the stolen police car. You're not gonna do better than the people trained to have the high-speed chase, and you're definitely not gonna do better if you're wasted while you're trying to do it. I'll be able to make the turn. Next thing you know, he's got to run through the woods because he crashed it. Everyone at the police office, though, is talking about what SUV they're going to get next. They're like, hear me out, dude. What if we get the supercharged Dodge Durango, since we're going to have to get a new vehicle anyways? Huh? What do you think? They just get like a Lamborghini Urus police car, just keep it rolling. Anyways, guys, I think that'll do it. I just thought this entire story was absolutely bonkers. Don't steal a police car. It should be really obvious to everyone, but especially don't do it and then take them on a chase. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I try to post videos like this twice every single day, so if you like this type of content, be sure to subscribe and turn on those notifications. And yeah, on that note, guys, I think that'll do it. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. I'm out. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrubby here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. And today, I've got some stories for y'all that you're going to enjoy about people's neighbors that have just gone ballistic. First one's about a Karen just attacking a guy who was trying to be nice. Other than that, we got some crazy ones. So if you're hyped for the video, be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam, you will move in next door to just an absolute crazy person, and you don't want that, so press the like button. Here is the comment of the day from the last video. Big thank you to everyone that leaves a comment down below, and without further ado, let's get into it. So we all know the weather's been changing, at least hopefully you've noticed that. If not, it's probably time for you to go outside, bro. And with the seasons changing, leaves fall off the trees and it makes a little bit of a mess in people's yards. And you gotta pick it up somehow. Like if you live in certain places, there's rules about, oh, there's only a certain amount of leaves you can have in your yard. And if you live in those places, that sucks. But regardless, sometimes you just need to have your leaves cleaned up. And if you don't have time to do it, you've got to pay a company. But the neighborhood that this guy lives in, there's an older guy who just does it for everybody, and he 100% doesn't have to. People tell him he doesn't have to, but he just thinks that it's nice for the neighborhood if he helps pick up leaves. And everyone is super grateful for it because it obviously saves them time and money. And if someone's saving you time and money, you're not going to be angry at them for it. And he does use like a backpack blower just to make it faster because he'll do like 2 or 3 houses at a time. And no one really cares about the noise because once again, he's solving a problem that either they would have to do or they'd have to pay for. And if you were paying for it, then the guy would come out and use a blower because he's trying to go fast to go to his next job, and then there would just be multiple noisy backpacks going every day. And on top of it, the guy's just being nice, so no one cares, no one says anything about it. And before anyone's like, well, why doesn't he use a rake? Because it takes way longer, and the guy's older. He's not going to use a rake. And this blower is not loud enough to like hurt your ears, you know? It's not like there's a cannon going off repeatedly outside your door. It's just yard work. And so at 11 a.m., the person who sent this in to me starts hearing it, which seems like a reasonable time. Obviously, if he started doing this at 5 a.m., that might be a little bit annoying. I could get that. But if someone starts doing yard work at 11 a.m., I feel like that's past the time of the allowed complaining window. Like, that's just a reasonable time to do something outside on the weekend. And he's doing yard work. It's not like he's just playing music as loud as humanly possible for no reason. And so whatever, he knows who it is and what they're doing, so he just kind of like goes back to playing his video game, not really worried about it. But he starts hearing screaming, and it's like a woman screaming, "What is that? What is that?" And he looks out his window where the noise is, and he sees this Karen that he hasn't seen before, like yelling at the old man with the blower backpack on. And she's pointing at the backpack. And her facial expression and the way she's pointing at the backpack makes it seem like she just found some strange alien device, you know? She had just stumbled upon some ancient alien relic that had started outputting this strange odor, and she was just so confused by it. And he wants to go see what's up because they're in his yard, so it's kind of becoming his business, and on top of it, he doesn't know why this lady is yelling at the guy who's doing him a favor. Anyways, he gets outside and he opens the door, and the first thing that he like really clearly hears is, "Stop that racket!" Racket? Like, what is this, 1811? Are you trying to ask someone to like stop playing with their phonograph? What are you asking them to do? "I do say, cease this racket immediately." He goes over there though and is like, "Hey, is everything okay? What's going on?" And the Karen turns to him and says, "No, he's making so much noise. And it's ridiculous. I don't even know what he's doing." And so he tries to explain that, like, well, he's getting our leaves. It's okay. He's supposed to be here. We know it makes noise. And she stomps her foot and goes, "It's so early." Keep in mind, it's almost noon. So I wouldn't really call that early. Maybe, like, some people have a different definition of if 9 a.m. is early or not. But noon is pretty universally not early. And on top of it, it's past the time where he can, like, legally do it. I think there is certain quiet hours, so even if you don't like it, it's okay for him to do it. And so he says that he's not going to stop, like he's going to just keep cleaning up, and it's okay. He's fine. It's okay for him to be here. And she yells that she doesn't like the sound. And his response is to just be like, "Well, it's my lawn, so I don't really mind if you don't like the sound, because it's not happening in your yard, so it's not your problem." "Well, you're just gonna let him be this loud?" And the old man is like, "No one's letting me do anything. I'm choosing to do this. This guy isn't my boss. It's not like he's paying me. Just leave me alone so I can finish what I'm doing." It's almost like she had forgotten that the old man had a say in it too, you know? Like he just had lost his freedom in her mind, just condemned to constantly be blowing leaves. This was just the only thing he ever did. And she turns to him when he starts speaking up and is like, "Take the blower off." And he says, "No, I'm not going to take the blower off. I'm using it and it's mine. Like, you can't tell me what to do." And she reaches over and starts trying to pull the strap off. And so he steps back and is like, "Don't touch me," because no one wants to be touched by someone, especially if they're aggressively doing it. Like, it's pretty reasonable to say, "Hey, don't grab me and try to take my possessions off me." And her response to being told to back off is to be like, "Well, I said take it off right now." Okay, it doesn't matter if you said take it off right now. You're not his boss. Strangers don't have to listen to your orders. It's not necessarily something that you have to do. If a stranger walks up to you and is like, "Give me your car," you're well within your rights to look at them and go, "No, I'm not going to give you my car." It's not like you're his boss or anything. So whatever, the homeowner at that point steps in and is like, "I think you should leave." And she, at the point where she's getting kicked out now, goes back to the straps to rip the backpack off, except now she's doing it super aggressively. And so the old man like falls over and she's trying to take it off. And at this point, she's just attacking him. And he's yelling for help and the guy doesn't know what to do. So he just runs in and grabs his phone and is like, I'm calling the cops. And so he comes back out with his phone, on the phone with the police, and she gets mad at him and is like, why are you calling the cops? And he's just like, are you kidding me? You just attacked an old man for blowing leaves at 11:30. Like, what do you mean, why am I calling the cops? You're just attacking this dude. And she starts getting all mad at him, saying he didn't need to do that. They could have just resolved it. And she runs over to her house, gets in her car, and drives away. And he didn't even know where she had lived before. Like, this was their first interaction. So he was really confused when it wasn't like his next door neighbor or something, because you'd think if you're gonna get that mad about the sound, you'd have to live really close. How are you gonna get mad about a leaf blower like 5 houses down? Are you kidding me? Like, that's just a very unreasonable thing to think that you have any control over. The entire block has to remain silent because I don't want there to be noise right now. Regardless, he called the cops and he starts talking to the old man. And the old man's okay, but very shaken up. Like, he was just trying to blow some leaves. Next thing he knows, he's getting shoved to the ground and someone's trying to rip his leaf blower off of his back. And it takes a little bit for the cops to get there, but they get there and they take a statement. And he points to the house and he's like, that's where she was, but she drove away. And as soon as he says that, the officers are like, all right, well, we don't really have time to sit around here and wait all day for her to maybe come home, so we're gonna go. And he was a little bit confused by that because, like, this lady literally attacked an old man. I feel like that's a pretty good reason to wait, but whatever, they left. And so he decided to, like, let the neighborhood know about it just so they could be on the lookout. If he's ever out front blowing leaves in their yards, be on the lookout for someone that's gonna come try to attack him. And the entire neighborhood was incredibly pissed. Like, everybody would yell at her and be like, why did you attack that old man? Not like go to her house and yell at her, but, you know, if she was ever like trying to cause an issue for somebody, they'd be like, yeah, aren't you the person that started screaming at the old guy that takes care of our leaves? Because this old man, like I said, was a saint. He's retired and he just volunteers his time to like pick up everyone's leaves so they don't have to hire a landscaping company. Pretty solid dude, no reason to get mad at him. And what's crazy is the entire neighborhood's mad at her, they don't like her, and she just would not apologize for it. Like, it literally would have all gone away if she would have just said, you know what, I didn't realize the situation, I'm super sorry, I shouldn't have screamed at the man with the leaf blower. But every time someone would get mad at her, she would be like, well, it's the old man's fault. Yeah, it's the old man's fault that you decided to attack him and throw him to the ground because he had a leaf blower on. And when they would point that out to her, she'd be like, well, he just shouldn't have been too loud. I think everyone's gonna lose their temper if something gets too loud. I didn't know that was a fact. I didn't realize that if something gets loud, you're allowed to just start punching people in the face. It's like that scene from the Kingsman movie where like they have that thing in their ear that makes them go crazy in that one church. I don't really get how you can blame this on him, but basically ever since that, she's cut back a bunch on her interaction with anyone in the neighborhood, which is probably best for everybody. She doesn't have to hear about how she was wrong for attacking the old man, and they don't have to hear that it's the old man's fault for being attacked because he just shouldn't have been that loud. I don't know how you can get mad at someone for collecting leaves for you, but this lady managed to find a way. What's that saying from like Jurassic Park, life finds a way? It's the same thing with Karens, you know? How could anyone get mad at this? Karens will find a way. Alright, on screen now is a gift card code. For those of you that don't know, I give one of these away in every single video I post here on the channel as a way to just say thank you to you guys for subscribing and turning on those notifications. So if you haven't already, you definitely should. I post videos like this regularly and I literally give away money. And if you are someone that's already subscribed with notifications on, then thank you for being just an absolute incredible person. Some of the smartest, sophisticated people on the planet are subscribed to this channel, actually. So the next story I've got for you guys is hilarious. So this person works at a game store, probably the game store you guys are thinking of that buys used games. There's really only one, and they really love red lights because they love stopping. Either way, there were certain consoles at this store that just were hard to keep in stock. Even years after all this crap, it's still not uncommon for them to sell out of the next-gen consoles. It's not like the workers love having to tell people, no, we don't have any. Like, they don't take any joy in that. It's just the reality of the thing's super in demand, so they don't have a ton.
But one guy comes in and just off rip, you can tell that he's got the whole like I'm better than you attitude. Oh, I've gotten so much money, I don't need to be in the store. And he starts demanding a PS5. Like, you guys need to get me a PS5 now. That's the only reason I hear. The only way I'm going to have a good customer experience is if you get me a PS5. And they're listening to this intense speech about how they need to make sure that he has the best customer experience and whatnot. And what's unfortunate is they were out of PS5s. The day before, they had a few, but people had come in and bought them, so it's not like there's any way for him to just make one magically appear. So he tells the guy before he can continue his rant that, like, they don't have any. And as someone who's shopped at a store before, I feel like we all have, if a worker comes to you and goes, oh, we don't have any of this, yes, there might be a 2% chance they're lying, but at the same time, like, are you gonna sit there and argue with the guy about what does and doesn't exist in the store you don't work out? Well, apparently this guy decided that that was just the most logical approach, because he looks at him and says, I know you have one. And the worker's really confused because it's like, yeah, but if I had one, I would sell it to you because it's my job to sell consoles. Like, clearly I don't have one because we would want to sell it to you. And so he tells him, no, sir, I'm sorry, but we really don't have another PS5. Like, there's no way for me to make one appear. And this old man starts getting angry with him and is like, cut the crap. I know you have some back there. I know it's store policy to keep a few extras in the back. Just go back and get one of the secret consoles. And once again, the worker's like, secret consoles, dude? What are you talking about? You're coming in trying to buy something that's been sold out for years now. It's a lot easier to find them in stock, but it's not easy, and you think that we just have this secret room full of all these consoles that have been highly in demand. We could have sold them for a huge profit, but we've just been hanging on to them secretly. I don't think any game store would do that. I don't think any business in general would do that. If someone told me their business plan was to hide half of their stock in the back and make people think it was out of stock and then sell it all from the back, I'd be like, that's a dumb idea. Why don't you just put it out and sell it normally? I don't know why this company would just decide randomly to hide their most expensive items and only the super secret people that are smart enough to ask get it. Like, I don't think that's how business works. Either way, when he tells the guy, like, yeah, still don't have a PS5, doesn't matter if you think there's a secret room in the back, we don't have one, not much I can do. He starts getting really angry, like face turning red, a little bit of spit coming out when he's talking. I know you have some extra. And it's a pretty dead day. It's not like there's a ton of people in the store. So his manager looks over and sees this guy like starting to have the beginning stages of a stroke or something because he's getting so mad at the fact that they don't have this console. So his manager comes over to just see what's going on, make sure this like situation doesn't escalate as managers do. And he comes over and is like, hey, what's the problem? Your worker refuses to sell me a new console. It's like he wants your business to lose money. I don't know how you function with employees like this. Okay, so now you're just gonna try to get the guy fired too, because he can't give you something that they don't have. Like, what? And his manager is confused too, because it's not like this worker is having a bunch of problems not selling people things. So he asks the guy, like, well, what console? He replies PS5. Even the manager is now aware of the situation. So he tries to politely explain to this guy that those are super in demand. We don't have any. I'm so sorry. And his response to the manager saying, we also don't have a PS5, is to be like, you're in on this too. I knew there was a conspiracy for you guys to keep these consoles, but I didn't realize how up the flagpole it went. How up the flagpole it went. If the worker is hiding consoles, wouldn't it make sense the manager is too? And I know they're not hiding consoles, but I love that in his mind, like the manager of the store is as up the flagpole as it gets. Might as well have just discovered like an Illuminati level conspiracy. That's how he was acting. I cracked the code. Everyone's in on this together. Yeah, all the workers got together this morning and they said there's one guy in particular who we all hate that we're just not going to give a console. Just that guy. Everyone else, you know, we have tons of PS5s. Let's just keep them in the back like a secret and only say no to this guy. So no one really understands what he's trying to imply by saying that there's some conspiracy to not give him the consoles. So he starts trying to nicely explain, the manager, no one's conspiring against you. There is no secret plan for us to like keep all the consoles from you. That's not what's going on. He's not having any of it though. He's like, I know how this works. You guys are gonna go above and beyond to convince me there's none here as a sales tactic. And now the worker talks up again and he's like, what sales tactic? It's not like we really need to do a whole lot of sales pitches to get people to buy stuff when they're in the store looking for a console. And he starts going off about how they're going to pretend that they don't have one once again and then like fake find one right before he leaves so that way he's desperate to buy it. I don't think that the store has to do stuff like that, and even if they did, wouldn't that be a dumb idea? Because now you're just pissed off and angry. In what business class do they teach you the best way to make a sale is to piss off the customer as much as possible? And so they kind of like, once again, for the 8th time now, tell them, we just don't have any consoles. And now they're stopping being nice. The customer service voice is dropping. They're just being like, we don't have any consoles. You gotta go. And he starts trying to guilt trip them, saying that he's gonna leave the store and they're gonna miss out on their commission that they could have made by selling him a console. And that's even funnier to them because now they realize he really just has no clue how this works because they don't make commission at all. I almost said permission. They don't make commission. It's not like their store is out here giving them $50 for each next-gen console they sell. Trust me, I feel like if that was the case, they'd be grinding trying to sell them to you. If they were making commission on the consoles, why would they not let you buy one? Like, if anything, they would be trying to push people to buy consoles they don't even need because of the commission. If they got paid per console, they'd be out there grinding, dude. You'd see them on TikTok, like, buy a console now. They'd be doing dance videos trying to go viral, like those corporations that are trying to go viral on TikTok, and it's mad cringe. Anyways, he's getting increasingly angry and he's like, I'm going to give you guys to the count of 3 to find a next-gen console and bring it out here or we're going to have bigger issues. And he starts counting down. And I've never understood why a grown-up would do that to another grown-up because I'm going to keep it a buck. Like, when people snap their fingers at me or start counting, it triggers something in my brain that turns me back into, like, caveman mode where I'm just like, oh, we're fighting now. Not literally. If you snap your fingers at me, I'm not going to fight you. If you count at me, I'm not going to, like, literally fight you. But that's a pretty disrespectful thing, in my opinion. Like, if you're going to start counting down at another adult, demanding they do something before you get to 1, that's just rude. You do that to, like, little kids when they're freaking out. You don't do that to a worker you know nothing about. And obviously, none of these grown men are going to start running all over the place trying to find a console that doesn't exist when he's counting down. And so he gets to the end of the countdown and they're still standing there. And he looks at them and goes, where is it? Well, they didn't move the entire time you were counting down. So I'm going to guess not in their hands. They didn't move. Did you think they did the SpongeBob thing where they were like, want to see me run and grab the console? Want to see me do it again? Clearly, they were not in a rush to go get a console during this countdown and they didn't do it. And they'd retell him, we don't have any. We told you. And he starts screaming. He was already mad before, but now he's just like straight up raging. This is ridiculous. I can't believe that you guys are refusing to sell me one of these. They're not refusing to sell you anything. They just don't have them. You guys are losing my business. I can't believe that you're going to let a paying customer walk out the door. And the manager is like, sir, we have customers here all the time. I'm not going to be spoken to this way. You can leave. Now we're not going to sell you one even if we do have one. And when he hears that, he turns around and they happen to have like this little display set up with all these plush figures, like all the plushies. And he smacks it. So all the plushies go flying everywhere. The like display rack falls to the ground. And he turns back and looks at them angry and is like, that's what you get for not selling me a console. Oh, wow, man, I'm shaking in my boots. You took your anger out on a plushie display. Oh, no, I am quivering. Like, dude, you picked the least intimidating thing to take your anger out on, even in general. Like, if you start punching stuff in a store to try to intimidate the workers, you're 100% in the wrong. But imagine trying to intimidate somebody by, like, beating up a plushie. So whatever, he leaves and they clean it up, and they were just talking about how insane it was. And what was funny is, like, 99.9% of the time, working with customers at this guy's job is his favorite part. Because usually it's just people that like video games, and he likes video games, and they talk about video games. But every now and then, the Karens just decide to pop up, or in this case, a Darren. I would love to know if there's any couples out there that got the Darren Karen name combo, because you know they're unbeatable when it comes to yelling at managers. All right, and the last story I have for y'all today is just insanely funny, but not long. So the person who sent this in to me was going on a run on Saturday, and he usually just runs in his neighborhood and has absolutely no issues. But he turns the corner, and he sees like 4 grown men in just tank tops standing out in the road. Almost looks like the beginning of King of the Hill, you know, when all the dads are just kind of standing there drinking beer, like very much a similar vibe. And he sees them looking like they're talking to him, but he has headphones in, so he takes off his headphone and is like, huh, what? And one of them goes, is that your drone? And he looks up and he sees a drone, probably a good 150 feet up above him. And he's like, no, I'm running. How would he be flying the drone if he has nothing in his hands and is like running down the street? Do you think he's controlling it with his mind, you know, Elon Musk Neuralink style? And they start explaining to him that, like, they don't want the drone there and why they don't want the drone there because they feel like it's spying on him. And he's just standing there listening to them like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. I get why you don't want a drone flying above your house for an extended period of time, but it's not my drone. So I'm really not sure what you would like me to do about it. It was almost like these four had been standing there complaining about it for a while. And so like the first person that walked up that wasn't in their group, they just decided to let them know every concern that they had about this drone. And I get it. It is weird if there's just a drone hovering above your house for an extended period of time. But it's not every stranger that walks by's drone, you know? Like, oh, you without the controller. Is this your drone? And so when he says, yeah, there's certainly a drone there, I don't know what to do about it, they're like, well, what should we do? He's not a drone whisperer. He's not an expert. And he says, I'm not sure. Maybe just like get it out of the sky. And he goes to keep running, but he's confused because a fifth guy magically appears from one of the garages and starts walking over with a bow and arrow. And so he doesn't run away just yet because obviously he's very curious to see what this guy's about to do with the bow and arrow and to see if he's about to go all like Robin Hood on the drone, you know, Legolas, just drone down. And so he walks underneath the drone, pulls out a lighter, and lights the arrow on fire, which, I mean, +5 cool points, but I'm not really sure if that's the best way to take out a drone. Think about it. I don't think it being on fire, if it hits the drone, does anything bonus, and you're shooting it up into a neighborhood. So if you miss and the flaming arrow comes down on top of somebody's roof and you can't get to it, are you going to go to jail for arson? I just feel like the flaming arrow might not be worth it, but whatever, he does it. And he pulls it back, fires the arrow. And you would think that there's no way this guy's got the accuracy to hit the drone. But somehow, instead of using his luck to win the lottery, he used it all on this moment. Because the flaming arrow smacks into the drone starts spiraling down with the flames coming off of it. And everyone is like, yeah, they start cheering. The runner's just kind of standing there. Could you imagine the guy who was flying the drone? He's just like, oh, I'm trying to get some B-roll shots of this neighborhood I'm making a documentary on. Next thing you see is just like a flaming ball coming towards you and then your drone turns off. Did I just get shot with a fire arrow? Like, that's what he's thinking. Either way, the drone hits the ground and he's looking at it and it's on fire and he looks back up and all 5 of the guys had vanished. It was like they wanted nothing to do with this. They just all went inside like, okay, when the guy comes to find his drone, the guy with the flaming arrow can't be here. And once he realized that all the men had disappeared, he's like, well, if the drone guy shows up, I'm the only one here, so I'm going to get the blame. So he ran over to the drone and like stomped out the fire, which probably was not better for the drone, but it had already been impaled with a fire arrow, so it's not like stomping on it was going to make it any worse. And he ran away too because he's like, I'm not getting blamed for this. I had nothing to do with it. Either way, a little bit of a, I don't know, like a little bit of a Karen move, but at the same time, don't hover drones above people's houses. That's weird. I'm not saying you deserve to have it shot with a fire arrow, but weird to spy on people. Anyways, guys, I think that's going to do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to press the like button. Let me know in the comments section down below what you thought. Seriously, if we could get this video to like 5,000 likes, I'd appreciate it. It was longer and it's been a while since we got that high. And if you want to help me out too, be sure to comment, subscribe, all that stuff. If you like listening to the story times, but you'd rather do it in audio format, I do post the audio version on Spotify. Feel free to check it out, link down below. And I made a playlist with some of my favorite videos of the year, so check that out too. Link will be in the pinned comment. But yeah, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace. What is going on, guys? It's your boy Scrubby here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am, and today I've got quite the story time for y'all I think you're going to enjoy about this freak out I witnessed when I was at the zoo a few months ago. Apparently this dude's kid is just an absolute god, knows way more about animals than like the guides that work there. Typical Karen parent stuff. Thought you guys would enjoy it. So before we get into it, be sure to press the like button, otherwise, no joke, no scam, you will be fed to a rhino for its dinner, a carnivorous rhino. And other than that, here's the comment of the day. Big thank you to everyone that's subscribed with notifications on and comments. And without further ado, let's get to the video. Alright, so a few friends and I decided to go on a little bit of a trip to a town that happens to have a very, very famous zoo in it, like a world famous zoo. And I'm not the world's biggest zoo fan, but at the same time, like when you're in the place that has a world famous zoo, you just want to go check it out. And so me and my friends go and we're like, all right, this will be fun. And they had this bus tour thing that kind of took you around and showed you the different sections and some of the bigger animals, but we just decided to hop on and see what it had to offer. And we had decided to go on a Saturday, which was probably not the best idea because we're getting crammed into this bus like sardines, shoulder to shoulder. They're just like, get in the bus as fast as you can, guys. Either way, we get on and the guide starts doing their speech that they do before you get going on the tour. You know, don't feed the animals, don't antagonize them, that type of stuff. Everything was pretty standard, nothing that would make you go, huh, that's weird. Obviously, a rhino is not supposed to eat animal crackers. No one is gonna argue with them, except for one gentleman who apparently decides that he's got some questions and raises his hand. And it's him, his wife, and his 2 kids, and they're all wearing matching clothes, and I'm not even talking about in the, like, family reunion way where everyone's wearing the same shirt so you can tell who's who. I'm talking about, like, the matching polo shirt, plaid short vibe, all 4 of them wearing the exact same clothes. And these kids that he's with, by the way, kids probably isn't the right word for them. They're both, like, balding, have full beards. It's a very weird vibe. I really wasn't sure what to make of it, to be honest. Either way, he raises his hand with a question, and the guide, not trying to be rude, calls on them and is like, hey, what's up? And he says, what if we want to feed the animals? And the guide kind of pauses for a second to like let the stupidity of that wash over them and see if it hits. Because believe it or not, it doesn't really matter if you want to feed the animals. The rule is that you can't. Obviously, everyone would want to feed the animals if like they just could because they wanted to. They're not supposed to eat human food. And no, the zookeeper is not about to make some like exception just for you because you guys really want to feed the animals. And so the guide explains that like, no, unfortunately, human food isn't really good for their digestive system, so we're not going to feed them any human food. I'm so sorry. And you would think that you'd be like, okay, well, you're the expert, so I'm gonna shut up now. Well, no, the older man starts to like argue with the zookeeper, saying that his son said it wouldn't be a big deal. And then one of the balding guys with the matching polo shirt stands up and starts talking about how he went to college, not for animals, for art, but still, animals were something that he was really interested in, so he knows a thing or two. And it takes him like 5 minutes to explain all that. And when he gets to the end of his explanation, the guide, not really knowing what's going on or what to do, just laughs a little bit because the situation is just bizarre. Like, imagine you went to school for animals and then some dude hops on the bus and is like, yeah, I went to accounting school, but I know more than you. So whatever, after the guide laughs, they decide to explain that they went to school for working with animals, so therefore they know a little bit more about the subject and they can confirm that they can't eat human food. Which made me and my friends laugh because we were like, yeah, you don't even need a degree to figure that one out. Like, taking the time to explain to these people that they can't eat human food and using your degree to back it up, like, has to be one of the most frustrating ways they've ever used that degree before. I spent $50,000 in 4 years getting my degree in, I don't know, zoology or whatever. And all of these people keep trying to tell me that hot Cheetos are just fine for the chimpanzees. It's not. The chimpanzees do not want to eat your hot Cheetos. And at this point, the entire bus is just hoping that this guy and his son just sit down. This is already embarrassing enough. We all just want to go on the tour. Like, let's just drop it and keep it moving. But no, the older man says him and his family aren't a fan of the guide's attitude. They traveled far for this, and they just didn't understand why they weren't willing to work with them to make their dreams come true. Okay, people travel to this city in the zoo all the time. Like I said, it's world famous. It's not like it changes the rules. If that was the case, you know how many people a day would just come here and go, hey, I came from far away. Apparently I get to feed someone to the sharks now. Like, that's just not how it works. So the guide reiterates that no, it doesn't matter if you're here as a tourist or whatever, you really can't feed the animals. And now the dad starts to freak out a little bit, you know? Not that he wasn't freaking out before, but now it starts to become a little bit more aggressive towards the guide. He looks at the guide and is like, "Do you think you know better than my son?" Which, honestly, they probably do. 100% they do. Not because your son is an idiot. Apparently, I don't know him. He might be an idiot. He's probably an idiot. He's related to you. But let's be honest here. If someone's got like a degree in something and that's their job, the odds of you knowing a crap ton more than them if you don't do the exact same job or work in the same industry, no injuries. I mean, this person's kind of acting like they got hit in the head, but whatever. You guys get what I'm saying, though. Like, unless you work in an industry and have more experience than someone, chances are they're an expert. I wouldn't go to a law office and start trying to tell the lawyer how to do his job and what laws do what, because I'm not a lawyer. I didn't go to school for that. It's okay for me to admit that that person's smarter than me at this. Yes, this is what they do with their life. They take care of animal. Go work, take care animal, go home. That's their formula, you know? It's very caveman. I'm kidding, you have to be super smart to like know the differences between all the animals, but you get what I'm saying. Like, this is just a part of their DNA at this point, so I'm sure all their knowledge is much, much deeper than yours. And they admitted that they've never been to the zoo before, so even more so, not only does this person just know more about animals, but on top of it, you've never been here. Who died and made you the expert on zoos? This isn't that one movie that came out in like 2012, We Bought a Zoo, where people just were like, whatever, let's take out a massive loan, buy a bunch of animals we've never taken care of. It'll be a huge financial success. That movie's super unrealistic, because that would have never worked, dude. Imagine trying to take care of the tigers and you have, like, no experience with animals. So whatever, the guide is like, all right, that's enough questions. You guys need to stop or you got to get off the bus so we can get this going. And the old man is like, no, my son deserves more respect than that. We wanted to feed the rhino. Like, you have to make this happen. And the guide starts getting irritated and snaps back that, like, your son has no clue what he's talking about. They can't feed the rhino human food, so it doesn't matter how much they sit there and argue, it's not gonna happen. And the mom, who had been silent up to that point, jumps up now and starts screaming at the guide. My son is a god. You will not speak down to him that way. He has some of the highest IQ the world has ever seen. Yeah, I'm sure the guy is an absolute genius. The dude that can't understand the concept that rhinos can't eat human food is for sure gonna change the planet, dude. I heard he's working on a solution to make 6G internet a part of our brains as we speak. Just an absolute genius. And then the guide is like, all right, you guys got to get off the bus. I'm not going to be spoken to like that. And the mom starts trying to stage a protest, being like, we're not going to go anywhere until you take us to the rhinos. And then starts trying to get people to like join in and chant rhinos. But no one's joining in because no one thinks you're in the right, dude. Like, this isn't your Disney movie moment. No one is sitting around like, man, the way you guys are really tearing into this guy who's just trying to do his job is awesome. I want to go with these people to the rhino. No, everyone's uncomfortable. And my friends and I are just like over it at this point. We don't really want to sit here and see how the rest of this ends up. It's pretty cringe. So we get off the bus. And the second we get off the bus and start just walking in a random direction to go look at some animals or something, we're confused because there's like a huge stream of security guards jogging at a pretty solid pace towards this bus. So I don't know who had called, and I didn't realize that the zoo was going to have like CIA level response times, but it looked like half the hostage rescue team was on their way to go help everybody on the bus to get away from this family that apparently wanted to hijack the bus and go feed the rhinos animal crackers. Who put that idea in their head? I love that 4 adults put their brains together and like really convinced themselves that they were going to go to the zoo, feed rhinos animal crackers, and if anyone gave them any trouble, they would just go, hey, we're from out of town. Like, that just automatically excuses all behavior. I'm gonna save that one. Apparently you can rob a bank. Hey, don't get mad at me for robbing the bank. I'm from out of town. How was I supposed to know bank robbery is illegal in this state? I got a lot more stories for today's video, but if you enjoyed the first one, I'd really appreciate you taking a second to press the like button and comment down below, and let's get into the next story. Alright, so this next story time was sent in to me by a guy who's in a college night class, and because it's a night class, a lot of the students tend to be like more adults, people with jobs going back to school. There's a lot less people that are in college for the first time. And, because the class is just a little bit older, it's almost like they gave them the professor that's a little tougher in a weird way. I don't know if that's true. That's what even the person that sent this to me was like, that's what it seems like, because this particular teacher was not a fan of retakes. He was not a fan of like goofing off. Very to the business, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to get done. And because of that, grades were pretty final, so it was important that you like paid attention and took a quiz seriously when he gave it to you, because you were never going to be able to retake it. And there was one guy who couldn't have been much older than like 20, 21, and he was in the class and he never took anything seriously because he was always talking about how there was like some school policy for retakes or whatever, so he was just going to retake the test and study up before he got to retake them. And near the end of class one day, he raises his hand and goes, "Hey, can I retake all the tests from this quarter? Every single one." And the professor is like, 1, I don't do retakes, and no, I'm not going to let you basically redo the entire class. That would take forever. Those are just my rules. No. But the guy is really, really not happy with that answer, and he starts begging, like not in a cool way, but in an almost pathetic way. Please, please, please let me retake it. Please, 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 please. And the professor is like, no, I'm not going to let you retake it. I'm sorry. Those are the rules of my classroom. If you don't like it, then you're more than welcome to go complain to the school. But it is what it is, and I'm especially not going to let you redo the entire class. And that is more than fair to me. Not letting anyone retake anything. If somebody was like, look, I really did bad on one test, I've studied up a lot on the subject, I'd really like another chance, that's one thing. That's a good time to let someone retake a test. If somebody has failed every quiz and then like 2 days before the year ends goes, hey, can I retake everything? No. Like, no, bro, are you kidding me? No, that's too much work for them. You know how much time it's going to take to grade all those tests? Either way, when the professor says no, this kid like pushes up his glasses anime style. You know when someone messed up and just accepted a challenge? And he says, I thought you'd say that. And then he does like a whistle, almost like he's calling a horse from Red Dead Redemption. And the door swings open and this woman walks in and like puts her hands on her hips in the most Karen pose you could possibly imagine. Just imagine the pose you would see before your manager gets called over and you both get screamed at. Just imagine the pose you would see before somebody starts yelling at you on Halloween for knocking on their door and asking for candy. And she opens up to the professor, why won't you let my son redo the tests? And everyone's like, bro, this guy brought his mom to argue with his college professor? And also, was she just standing in the hall? Like, did they have this entire thing reveal, like, planned, you know? I'm gonna go in and start the argument, ask to retake the test. If he says no, I'm gonna whistle. And that means that you come in all guns blazing, being like, yo, what up? I'm his mom, let him retake the test. Why would they care? This is not high school, buddy. Like, you're in college. Your professor's not gonna care that you brought your mom to make him try to make you retake the tests. He doesn't care. If anything, it's going to give him more joy to tell you no now because your mom's coming in and like trying to make a scene with you. He really whistled too, summoning his Red Dead horse, but it's just a Karen to fight instead. He's like, boy, you made a mistake. I'm going to get the manager now. Get me the manager at once. She just comes like running around the corner, dude. What a weird situation. But whatever, the professor doesn't really seem that bothered because why would he be? And he looks at his mom and says, yeah, I don't do retakes. Sorry about that, but it's not going to happen. And she says, I'm his mother. Like, I want him to be able to retake the test. And the professor goes, okay, well, I don't do retakes. Like, just repeats himself. And you can tell she's getting frustrated. Like, she's not used to people being like, no, I'm not going to do what you want me to do. So she folds her arms and says, you have to. And the professor's like, no, I'm not going to. Now, if you could please get out of my class, that'd be great because you're interrupting. Yeah, class was almost over, but they were still learning stuff. And all of a sudden, she bursts in the door all like, let my son retake the test, otherwise there will be consequences. If I was this dude, I just wouldn't want my mom to come in and fight my battles for me. Like, I feel like it's not giving the impression you want it to anyone in the class or your teachers or whatever to just call your mom in to argue with someone because you don't know how to argue for yourself. How are you ever gonna have, like, you know, the ability to go into your boss's office and ask for a raise? How are you ever gonna have the ability to walk into a job interview with confidence if you can't even convince your teacher to let you retake some tests without having to have your mom in the hallway like some type of weird family tree backup plan? Keeping your mom a little too close, buddy. Imagine he just does this at work. He just brings his mom. Hey, mom, I just finished this spreadsheet. Will you look over it for me before I send it in? Well, Karen isn't going to back down, and so she's like, I'm not going to go anywhere until you let him retake these tests. And so the professor, realizing that class only has a little bit of time left, and she's probably not going to leave because she seems pretty stubborn, says, all right, well, class dismissed. Everyone have a great weekend. And starts packing up his stuff. And the Karen is shocked. She can't believe that she just did that. And she's like, what do you mean? This isn't over yet. And the professor says, yeah, it is. I just dismissed the class. We're all going to go home and have a good weekend. I hope you do too. And he picks up his little bag with his laptop in it and just walks out. And so everybody is literally like laughing at the situation. The Karen and her son are all embarrassed. He's definitely not going to be able to retake the test. And then everyone else starts walking out. Like, all right, the professor's gone. We're out of there. But those two stayed there and were like the last two people to leave, probably because it took them that long to figure out what just happened. I don't think he got to retake his test, but I'm going to give the professor some huge credit. I'm not leaving until you let him retake the test. All right, well, class dismissed. Bye, I'm going home. All right, guys, on screen now is a gift card code. I give one of these away in every video to say thank you to everyone that subscribed with notifications on. So if you haven't already subscribed, turn on those notifications. If you already got them on, you're an absolute legend, and press the like button, and let's get into the next story. So this next person is in a dorm right now, and I'm telling you, with all the dorm stories going around, I'd be horrified to be in one right now, but they only have one kitchen on their entire floor, which is a pretty crappy design because there's a lot of people on the floor of the dorm. One kitchen means there's a whole lot of waiting. But one unspoken rule on the entire floor is to not cook anything that smells like absolute death because everyone has to share one kitchen. And the venting for the kitchen is also really good because it's the only one, so whatever you cook in the kitchen, every room can smell. So you don't want to go out there and like cook sauerkraut or whatever, because then the entire building is going to smell like sauerkraut for 2 days. Like, you don't want to be the person that does that. And it wasn't like a real written down rule or anything. Like I said, it was more of a, we all got to live here, so let's make it enjoyable type of vibe. But there was one guy on the floor who just annoyed the crap out of everybody. He would never clean up after himself, like literally just did not care, would leave dishes, spills, you name it. If he made a mess, it was staying there for somebody else to have to clean up. And it obviously got really annoying because that's just not fun to clean up after other people. And on top of it, whenever anyone would confront him about it and be like, dude, please pick up after yourself, I'm tired of cleaning up, he would play dumb and be like, oh, I have no clue what you guys are talking about. I didn't do that. So whoever left that mess, yeah, that guy sucks, but that's not me. And they'd be like, all right, so you're eating that, and the trash for it is in the kitchen. You're telling me that you didn't make it. No, someone else must have just made the exact same food. Like, he just absolutely sucked. Whatever, though. One day, he goes to the store and decides he's gonna buy, like, one of those fish on sale that's about to expire and make it in the kitchen. And fish is a pretty smelly thing to make, especially if you, like, you know, don't know how to make fish. And this guy just puts the entire fish, like, all in the oven and just starts baking that thing at a temperature that's way too high. And very quickly, not just their floor, not just the floors around them, the entire building starts to smell like fish as the aroma of this just kind of goes through the air. And people are pissed. Like, the entire building is complaining, trying to figure out what idiot would have, like, cooked fish in the microwave, in the oven like that. Who would have thought that was a good idea? They know how the smell spreads. And this guy's not going to come clean and be like, yes, it was me. I was the guy who did the fish smell. So he's just kind of hiding it. And so when they start coming down to that floor pissed off, everyone says it's probably that guy. He does this all the time, and they go to, like, knock on his door. And he's not answering, and the smell's so bad that maintenance is involved, so they go over and start knocking on the door and talk to the guy. And the guy doesn't hide it from the maintenance people. Like, he wasn't going to answer anyone he didn't have to answer, but when the maintenance people come, he answers the door, and he basically was like, yeah, that's their problem. I don't really care. I don't mind the smell. I get people are mad, but that's kind of stupid on their part. I don't know what they were expecting. And everybody was not too thrilled with that response. But to make things crazier, he really didn't think he was in the wrong. Because after that, for the rest of the year, he would leave like passive-aggressive notes. Because he got banned from making anything else in the kitchen. They were basically like, yeah, your kitchen privileges are gone. So he would leave notes talking about how he would have made X, but they got him banned from the kitchen. Like, no, dude, you got yourself banned from the kitchen when you didn't know how to make a fish and made the entire building smell like fish for a week. If you're enjoying the video, go ahead and comment the word Toy Story down below. Otherwise, no joke, no scam. Your toys will come alive and haunt you. Alright, so this last story was sent in to me by somebody named Mary, and she works at a convenience store, which is usually pretty chill. She worked this, like, morning shift, but one of her coworkers ended up calling out, so she was stuck there till the afternoon. Which sucks, but it really wasn't that bad, because it was, like, the end of the week, so she was getting overtime pay, so a couple extra hours of, like, double time isn't bad. But this guy comes in and walks up, and he puts $10 down, a $10 bill, and he says, hey, can I get 15 on pump X? And, you know, Mary's not a scientist or anything, but she's pretty confident on her ability to do basic math. And a $10 bill just isn't $15. I probably couldn't have done that math myself, so kudos to you, but I would agree that something doesn't really add up. If someone hands you a 20 and then says $40 worth of stuff, you're more than, like, right to point that out. And so Mary kind of says, oh, you mean $10? And the guy says, no, 15, and slides the $10 bill over. And so Mary picks it up, shows it to him, and says, you see this, right? Like it's a $10 bill. And the guy says, yeah, all right, so I can't give you $15 because this is $10. And the guy looks at her like she's an absolute moron and proudly says, yeah, but I gave you 10, so like 15 on pump X. And she's like, do you want to put $5 on a card? Is there another bill that you forgot to give me? You know, what's going on? This is not the right amount of money for what you're asking for. No, I don't have any more cash, so I just want you to give me the $5. And she's like, well, I can't really do that, so I'll put $10 on the pump, but that's all I can do because that's what you gave me. And now he gets mad and yells, I said I want 15 on the pump, Mary, because he can, like, read her name tag. And at that point, she just decides that she's not going to help him anymore. And so she just, like, looks at him. Like, just looks at him and just stares at him. She doesn't know what's going on. She has no clue. But clearly, this guy either shouldn't be spending his own money or is up to some weird thing. And so she's just standing there staring at him, and he's staring back. And after about a minute, he's like, hello, $15 on pump da-da-da. And she just says, you mean $10? I said 15. And like the entire cycle was about to start over. Who would have knows if she would have been stuck in an endless loop having that conversation forever. But thankfully, before the rest of the stupidity could really get up and going, her replacement coworker that was there to replace her came in, and it's not like she needed another reason to get out of there. Let's be realistic. The second you got a chance to get out of a place after you've already been there for a while, you skedaddle, you get out. And that was her plan. So she got out of there. It was her coworker's problem to deal with the guy who couldn't do basic math. But I don't know. Stories like that always weird me out because, A, you're too dumb to be that confident, you know? Like, I feel like if you're that dumb, you've got to be a little bit aware, and that's fine. There's nothing you can do about it. But you can't be rolling around acting pissed off and annoyed that other people aren't thinking the same way you do. Oh, what do you mean you're not going to give me $15 for $10? Like, that's how normal people think, buddy. Either way, just thought you guys would appreciate this little set of stories. If you did, you should go ahead and press the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comment section down below. If you don't know what to comment, just go ahead and comment Thanksgiving down below. Hope you guys all have a good one. If you want to listen to these, but like want to listen to the audio version, you can go ahead and give it a listen. I posted on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that stuff, link down below. And if you really want something cool to celebrate the Christmas season, there is the Karen Christmas sweater. I will put the link in the pinned comment down below, but you can check that out. And yeah, on that note, guys, 12 days of Scrubs is quickly approaching. Hope you guys are all ready for that. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. And hopefully, I will see each and every single one of you guys next time with another video. I'm out. Peace.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrubby here, back again with another video. Feeling quite a bit better.
I had the ever-living crap kicked out of me this last week by whatever sickness that was, so I apologize for the compilation videos, but I'm back now. And I've got a story time that was sent into me that I think you guys are going to love about this person's college roommate who has to have reached like massive levels of cringe. We've talked about a lot of bad roommates on this channel, but as you can tell from the title, he just thought showering was optional. It was more for losers than this guy. And I feel like basic hygiene should be basic, but for this guy's roommate, it just went right over his head. It was like it was the most complicated concept he could have ever thought of. Why would I want to smell good? From what I understand, the animal kingdom works like this. The more the ladies can smell your pheromones, the better. Yeah, maybe if we were still cavemen, bro, but these days I don't think BO is gonna be helping you out if you're trying to pick up the ladies. Anyways, I just thought it would be funny, so without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so the person who sent this to me was a little bit confused when they got to college, and for the first 3 days they were there and staying in their dorm room, they hadn't met their roommate yet. Everybody else in the dorm, there was multiple rooms to a dorm and each person shared their room type of situation. Everyone else had their roommates there, they were starting to get to know each other, he had made friends with some of the people in his suite. But his roommate wasn't there yet, and one day he comes back from class and he sees this dude moving all of the stuff from his side of the room to the other side of the room and had a bunch of stuff that was being unpacked where his stuff used to be. And he's immediately confused because he just assumed that when this roommate got here, he was gonna take the open desk and the open bed, so coming back to this guy going through his stuff and moving it all was a weird first impression. And so he asks him, hey man, what are you doing? Can you not go through all my stuff and touch it? And the guy looks at him, almost annoyed by his presence, and is like, I don't sleep on the right side of the room, okay? I can't believe you would have thought that I would have let you sleep on this side. And right off the bat, he's not too enthusiastic about this guy being his roommate, and he says something to him well, if you would have been here on the first day, we probably could have figured that out, but you've been missing for the first 4 days of school. And his roommate looks at him and is like, is there going to be a problem for my attendance? And of course he's like, no, I'm not trying to be your mom. I don't care if you go to school, but it's just a little rude to come in and start moving all my stuff around and saying, you can't believe I thought I was going to have that side of the room because I didn't know who my roommate was going to be. And whatever, his roommate kind of looks him up and down very judgmentally and says, sorry, well, I'm going to be on this side of the room. And off rip, he kind of gets the vibe that this guy is going to be very, very bossy. That's probably the worst thing you could have in a roommate is someone that just thinks they're smarter than you and they should be in charge of everything. But whatever, he's trying not to make it too dramatic, so he just starts moving his stuff from his side of the room to the other. It's not that he wanted to, he just thought maybe they got off on the wrong foot. It was the first time they had met. So fine, he moves his stuff. And the entire time he's moving his stuff from that side of the room to the other side of the room, he's trying to talk to this guy. They're gonna be roommates, they're gonna live together. You might as well try to see if you have anything in common. And it's like pulling teeth without anesthetic, bro. This guy is having none of it. He's just being super judgmental. Every time that the person who sent this to me would say something about themselves, he was like, yeah, that's not what I'm into. Sorry, I'm a little more sophisticated than that. Just being insanely rude. And then at the end of the day, after they're moving all their stuff around, he says something about how he's going to design a chore chart for the dorm. And there was 8 people in the dorm, but 4 rooms to the dorm, if that makes sense, their little apartment suite thing. So he tells everyone that he's going to set up the chore chart just so they can divide chores and whatnot. And they hadn't done that yet, and he's like, all right, the guy's going to be bossy, but if he gets us organized and makes a chore chart that works for everybody, more power to him, it makes our life a little easier. So he's thinking, I might have been too hard on the guy, it was probably just a weird first impression, he might not just be sociable, but at least he's organized. And then the entire suite, the little apartment, gets a taste for just how bossy this guy was going to be and why he was so insistent on planning the chore chart himself. When they sit down and start going over this, wouldn't it be super bizarre that the person who made it isn't on it at all? It's just everyone else doing all the dishes and all the vacuuming and all the cleaning and all the stuff that sucks. And he's just got absolutely no chores. And it's obvious to everybody looking at it that he's not on it at all. It's not like they're idiots. So they pointed out to him, they're like, well, why do you think that you have to do no chores? And he does the scoff. You know the scoff when someone just can't believe how stupid what they just heard was? He does that and says, well, obviously, I put in all the hard work making the chart, so it would be unfair for me to have to do the chores too. Is that how it works? You just have to make the chart and you don't have to do any of the work? Like, so if I'm a boss, as long as I tell my employees to show up to work, I don't have to do anything other than that? That's sweet. Obviously, all of his roommates that share this apartment with him are not down for that, though, and they start telling him, like, yeah, that's not gonna work. You're gonna have to redesign this. Everyone's gotta do equal work. We're not gonna be your butlers and just pick up after you. And if you really think making the chart was that hard, then we'll make one without you. Like, don't worry. And as soon as they said they were going to make a chart without him, he starts getting really pissed off, saying that there's no way that they were smart enough to make a chart that was as good as his. And I love how he loves his chart because he doesn't have to do any of the work, you know? He's like, you will never make a chart as good as mine. Yeah, maybe for you because you don't have to do any of the work, but I guarantee you they're probably able to make a more fair chart. And it also just goes to show that he thought his roommates were stupid. Like, you guys are all in college. I'm pretty sure you're all capable of making a chore chart. I don't think that's some crazy highbrow. Oh, you don't even get to that until you've got your master's degree. But he starts getting really mad at them, saying that they're not going to change the chart. He doesn't understand why he was going to have to do any chores. Making the chart should have been more than fair enough. And he goes over, sticks it on the fridge, walks into his room, and closes the door. And I don't know if in his mind that meant conversation over. Everyone just had to go with what he said because he closed the door. So they just go up and they take the schedule down. They make their own chore chart that they put up. And he doesn't say anything about it, so they assume that he had just decided to let it go and go along with the new chore chart. And for a little bit, everything kind of goes back to normal. But that's the first impression. He doesn't want to do anything. He expects everybody else to do the hard work. He thinks he's smarter than everybody. And you would think if he's got that type of attitude, if he's going to be so insistent on a chore chart and cleanliness and making sure everything's done the right way, that he would be a neat freak. You would think that this guy's side of the room would be spotless. He would be out there like Mr. Clean himself with a magic eraser every single day from noon to 5 p.m. trying to clean stuff. But no, for someone that was so bossy and insistent on everyone else being clean, the guy was an absolute slob. Over that next week, he just like absolutely trashed his side of the room. I'm talking about piles of like food bags, you know? He would go down to the food court, get food, bring it back, and instead of throwing away the leftover trash, he would just put it all into the bag and then set the bag and stack them up. And it's not like, you know, 1 or 2 bags. I'm talking 15, 16 bags that still have food in them, just rotting away because he didn't feel like throwing it away. And it gets so bad that the bags start falling over onto the person who sent this to me's side of the room, and the smell is overwhelming. There's like flies everywhere. And that's not the only mess. He also decided to take that approach with his dirty clothes. And I feel like everyone's been in like that type of mindset before where you just throw your clothes on the ground. But if you have a roommate, you really can't do that, and eventually you gotta pick it all up, right? This guy, just weeks of just clothes on the ground. And it was almost like he was wearing more clothes a day than he even should have, because over the course of a week, it looked like there was weeks of clothes on the ground. He didn't even know where all the clothes were coming from. It was just dirty clothes, and so that smell starts to stack up. I don't know if you guys will know what smell I'm going to try to describe, but you know when it just starts to smell stale? Like the entire room just starts to smell like it hasn't had any freshness in months. That's what was going on. Febreze probably could have used their room for a commercial when, like, they put the blindfolds on, they walk into a disgusting room. Do you smell anything? No. See? The power of Febreze. So he decides that he's going to ask him to pick up. He remembers the freak out he has over the chore chart, but it's getting bad. The smell's getting overwhelming. So he's like, listen, man, our room's getting really gross. I don't feel comfortable bringing people over. The smell's starting to get too much for me. Like, I can't even do my homework because my eyes are watering when I come back from class. And he looks at him and completely seriously goes, well, why would I clean up? Isn't the maid going to come do it? Yeah, not how college dorms work, buddy. I don't think the maid is on staff. So he starts explaining to him that college dorms don't have a maid. And when he's explaining that there is no maid, the look on the kid's face is like he started speaking another language. Imagine you had like a magic device in your ear that automatically translated everything, but it died halfway through a conversation with someone speaking Dutch, and you just started hearing something you don't get. Like, that's the look on this guy's face. What do you mean there's no maid? Like, what do you mean that there's no maid that's gonna come clean up our stuff? Are we supposed to clean stuff up ourselves? Like, that's what we're supposed to do? And he's completely serious when he says that. He's shocked at the fact that he might have to clean up his own room. He had never even thought about this before. The fact that one day his room's not going to just magically be clean. This guy's parents did him so dirty, he didn't even understand how his house got clean. Like, he really thought there was just some magic Harry Potter technique that just comes and picks stuff up. Everybody's just got a maid. And so when he says, what, we're just supposed to pick it up ourselves, the person who sent this to me kind of confirms it. Like, yeah, we have to pick it up ourselves. No one's going to clean up after us. And he starts going off about how he's never done that before and he doesn't even know how to start. What do you mean you've never picked up after yourself before? Like, not even once? Not once ever? Even if you have a maid, let's say you're loaded. I feel like if you never pick up anything, you're just really mean to your maid. You're talking never. You just always make them pick it up. If you drop your toothbrush while you're brushing your teeth, I don't even know how often that happens. I've never done that now that I'm thinking about it, but just rock with me here. Do you just scream at your maid to come get it for you? Like, you've never cleaned anything yourself? And he's just kind of going off about how he doesn't know what to do. And the subscriber who sent this to me is like, yeah, well, I know you don't know what to do, but we got to do something because the room's starting to smell. Like, it's getting really bad. We have to clean it. And his roommate looks at him and just goes, well, I don't want to. So if you want it clean, then you go ahead and clean it. Huh? Wait, what do you mean? You go ahead and clean it. It's not his mess. He had nothing to do with making this mess and putting all this food here. That was all you. Why is it on him to just magically have to be the one to clean it? And he starts arguing with his roommate about, like, that's not fair. You have to clean your mess. And his roommate straight up just goes, no, it's going to bug you more than it bugs me, so I'm just going to wait it out. He was going full war of attrition, bro. Was just straight up hoping to outgross him. Just live in this filth to the point where his roommate got so tired of it, he was willing to clean it up so that way he didn't have to. And I feel like that's a level of petty that no one should hope to achieve. Everybody, needs to stand up for themselves a little bit sometimes, but if you're willing to let yourself live in filth just to, like, get one over on somebody, that's too much dedication. And as he's explaining this, the person who sent this to me is shocked because they just can't believe anyone would have that mindset of, like, no, I'm cool living in a hoarder house as long as I don't have to clean it. I'll live in it until someone else does. And what's crazier is he goes through with it, dude. He just increases the grossness. Now he's leaving even more food in the bag, so the smell's getting worse, It's getting really, really gross in the room, and he just doesn't care. It's like it doesn't faze him, and I don't know how you could do that. I've let my room get pretty bad before, but, like, I feel like once there's rotting food and flies and you're just cool with it, it's too far. It's borderline chemical warfare at this point. I feel like this is against the law. Oh, come on, you can't, like, make your roommate have to deal with this because you don't want to clean it up. And so for the next week after that, he's just hoping one day that his roommate's going to have to break. He doesn't want to have to clean it all, but at the same time, it's getting to the point where he's considering cleaning it because he just can't stay there. He literally started staying at one of his friends he had made, like, at their dorm, and when he wasn't able to stay there, he was just sleeping in the couch in the living room of their apartment. He literally could not stand being in his room anymore. It got that bad. And on top of that, now he just stops bathing altogether. So you got the trash, you got the clothes. He's just not bathing at all. So he's starting to reek. And he was an athlete. Not for, like, a really important sport at the school, but it doesn't matter. He's doing regular physical activity, coming back, taking off the sweaty clothes, throwing them on the ground, not washing them, not washing himself. So it just starts getting disgusting. And once he stops showering and, like, the BO gets so overwhelming that the entirety of the apartment is starting to smell like BO, all of the roommates decide to sit him down and be like, dude, you gotta take a shower. Like, this is getting out of control. You're approaching a week without showering. You're working out every day. It's too much. The trash is already disgusting. The clothes are gross. But, like, you not taking care of your hygiene at all is too far. And instead of being like, okay, you guys are right, I feel gross, I haven't showered in a while, I was just trying to outgross my roommate, he starts getting defensive about it, being like, well, 7,000 years ago we never showered. That's correct, man. That's true, because showers didn't exist. I promise you, if 7,000 years ago there was a really easy way for people to take, like, a long hot shower, they would have done it. For sure. It's dope. It just wasn't an option. And even then, it's not 7,000 years ago anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not. We can look at that and go, yep, that's how they lived back then. Good thing we don't have to do that anymore. It's not the medieval ages, dude. We're not fighting the bubonic plague and we go take a bath once a year in the river, right? Like, there's no reason to be doing that anymore. And he starts going off on this rant about how real alpha males don't have to bathe because his scent was natural and his natural scent was going to attract strong people only. And if people weren't able to handle the alpha male scent, then it just meant that they weren't alpha males. Which is a crazy conclusion to jump to. You didn't shower for a week, so you're an alpha male. And people that don't like the smell of you are not alpha males. All right, man, I don't understand how you're connecting these dots. I don't understand where on the chart these things all got connected, but that's what he's screaming at everybody, is that they don't have to bathe because he's an alpha male. And if they don't like it, they're just admitting that they're weak. Like, I don't think it's weak to say you don't like smelling bad. Hey, man, do you wear deodorant? Oh, you're so weak, bro. What is that? Weak sauce. You got some weak armpits. You're putting deodorant on those bad boys? I don't think anyone would like that. 7-day-old BO is not charming. It doesn't make people think that you're dominant, bro. It just makes people think that you're weird for not showering at all. And his rant culminates about how they shower, and obviously, look at them. If they shower and that's how they are, then showering is for losers. Hey, man, you know what they say. Hygiene's for losers. If you've ever taken a shower before, this guy thinks you suck. Just a really weird thing to, like, pick to say people are a loser about, you know? Like, hey, oh, you shower, loser? It's just such a normal thing. Is anyone not a loser other than this guy? Is this like a movement that I've missed out on? I don't really pay attention to the internet much anymore. I just kind of make my stories. But, like, is there a movement of people just saying that showering is bad? I missed that one. If you're a part of that movement, don't be. Just take a shower. But the roommates decide that they're not going to let him keep doing that, so they're going to go to the housing administration and talk to them about it. And it's not like they wanted to snitch. They didn't want to get the guy in trouble, but what? You're going to blame them for going and telling that, like, this roommate is just letting food rot, not showering, doesn't care, screaming at his roommates? So he goes to the housing office and they start explaining the situation. And it's not that they don't believe that there's a roommate that's being annoying. But I'm sure when you work at a housing office at a college, people come in complaining about their roommates, and maybe they make it sound way worse than it is. I'm sure that happens. So they're hearing this, and they're like, okay, sure, all right, we'll come check it out. And let's be honest, would you believe it? Your job is dealing with this stuff all the time. Somebody comes in saying a guy's letting food rot and refuses to shower to prove to his roommates that he's more alpha than them. So they come to look, and the lady walks into the apartment, and she's like, it just smells like a boys' dorm room. And they start going towards their room where all the mess was, and you can tell her face is getting more and more pale. And the door opens, and the lady in charge of the housing department gets a whiff of the smell coming out of the room, straight up turns around, runs to the bathroom, and starts dry heaving into the toilet. And you know you've reached a level of gross that is pretty bad if people are taking a whiff of your room and then almost having to vomit. Everyone in the apartment had gone, like, not nose blind to it, but not vomiting over it because they had smelt it before. But the fact that it was bad enough to make most people gag opened their eyes to just how bad it had gotten too. And so they go into the room and the roommate's gone. And they don't know where he went, but there's a note on his desk saying, like, you guys can clean this up. I'm leaving. You know, it was almost like when he realized that they were going to the office to report him, he knew they were probably going to kick him out anyway, so he decided to get the jump and leave. All of this for a stupid mind game to try to make his roommate clean up, and now he had to, like, abandon his dorm room. And so the staff starts looking at everything, and they can't believe the state of it. And what's crazier is it's like half the room. The person that sent this into me, their room had obviously been, like, affected, but there's not trash everywhere. It's not that bad. So just the room is horrible. They end up having to move this guy out of that apartment because the room was so bad. They had to rip everything out and do the carpet, the walls, everything. It was so gross. And so he got moved into a new apartment, and his old roommate definitely was no longer allowed to stay at school housing and had to pay for the entire repair. Thankfully, the housing people were super apologetic. They were like, we have never seen a dorm room that bad. We're so sorry about that experience. And they gave him a discount on his housing for the rest of the year. And yeah, overall, man, I feel like that level of petty is not something you want. And just shower, bro. I don't understand why people are obsessed with, like, being alpha. Like, it's just kind of weird to me, dude. Just, like, exist. I don't know why you need to care what other people think you are. You get what I'm saying, but it's especially not quote-unquote alpha to not shower, bro. Just shower. Just shower. Alpha, beta male, data male, whatever, gamma male, I don't care. Just shower. I don't feel like this guy really won, though. I feel like having to pay for the repairs and the room and board in a room you're not allowed to stay in anymore is not worth it, even if you technically won the petty off and grossed out your roommates to the point where they had to go snitch on you. That was definitely a pretty gross roommate, though. Anyways, guys, I think that's going to do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, I would really appreciate y'all taking a second to press the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comment section down below. And of course, subscribe if you're new and turn on those notifications. I post videos like this really often, so you should be sure to subscribe and turn on noties if you haven't already. And if you like these, but you'd rather listen to the audio version offline or whatever, I do post them on Spotify. You can find that link down below. And yeah, on that note, guys, that'll really do it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. Go clean your room. And hopefully I'll see you guys all next time with another video. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. I'm out. Peace.
All right, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrubby here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. And today I've got a super cool story time that was sent in to me, but I've never had a story like this sent in. It involves a rich kid being destroyed, but not standard. Dude works in an investment bank, so, you know, a little bit higher stakes on what's going on. Either way, I thought it would be something you guys would enjoy, so that's what we're going to be talking about. So before we get into it, be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam, GTA 6 will never come out. Yeah, that's right, I'm holding it hostage, so press the like button and let's go. Oh, and here's the comment of the day. Don't worry, I didn't forget. I forgot for a bit, but not anymore. Alright, so as I said, the guy that sent this in to me works at an investment bank, and he's not high up or anything, he's like at the very bottom of the totem pole, but technically his title is asset manager, so he's got a little bit of experience managing the stocks. Mostly handling like 401k accounts for companies, because I guess that's like a good job for new people, because there's a ton of regulations, you really have to stick to the guidelines. So, like, you really can't go lose a bunch of money doing stupid stock stuff because you have to have certain amounts of X, X, and Y. So he had been doing that for a while, and he was enjoying it, and he understood that, like, you gotta work your way up, like, it just is what it is. It was a lot of work, but he saw that eventually, if you keep going and you get to the good part, you make a lot of money. And one day, he's sitting in his office, and his boss comes in, and he seems kind of shy. And his boss is not a shy guy. Like, usually, you'd be thinking to yourself, please shut up, if he was standing there talking to you, because it was just an endless stream of words. And he finally comes clean, and he's like, all right, my boss, so the guy above him, wants him to hire his kid. And he was going to be starting the next day, and, you know, he was wondering if he would train him. And the guy's standing there like, bro, I'm handling the accounts that you told me are so easy, anyone couldn't mess it up. Like, a baby could manage this account, and you want me to train your boss's kid? And he's like, yeah, I know you're new, but I just think you'll probably be the best at it, because he doesn't have a whole lot of education about it. He's just dipping his toe in. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with wanting to try something before you dedicate your life to it. That's a perfectly reasonable position. Like, okay, make sure you like something before you dedicate yourself to it. But I feel like investment banking isn't really one of those things that you can kind of dip your toe in the kiddie pool on. Like, I feel like that topic, you either dive in or you don't. In my mind, it's like one of those topics, it's like law or being a doctor or like something that takes a ton of knowledge, like doctorate level stuff, you know, being a professor. In order to get to that level, you can't really just be like, I want to try being a professor for a week. Like, well, no, you have to have years and years of knowledge in order to like know what they know. But whatever, he's like, yeah, sure, if you really want me to do it, fine. I can train him, I guess. And so his boss is pretty grateful. He's like, thank you. He's going to be cool. Like, I promise it's going to be fine. And he's just not really knowing what to expect. He was going in with no expectations, because that way there's no way to be, like, dramatically disappointed. This could go good. This could go bad. Like, that's the attitude to have in a situation similar to this one. And you would think that if he had gone out of his way to, like, set up this job, even if his dad is the boss, like, if he had gone out of his way to apply himself, you know, and maybe learn a little bit, he would come in willing to learn even more. I feel like if it's your first day in a job in an industry you know nothing about, like you should just be trying to learn as much as humanly possible. Because you're not an expert. There's a reason you're like an intern here. It's not because you're some stock trading genius. This guy hasn't been to school for finance. He has no like investing experience outside of what he's done on Robinhood, which sure is experience, but not really the same thing as like managing multiple millions of dollars in portfolios for companies. Like it's just not the same thing. Well, the guy comes in, and I'm going to name him Eric for this story. That's not his name, but I just feel like naming him Eric. And Eric comes in and is off the rip super polite to the guy's boss. He's like, wow, thank you so much for this opportunity. This is going to be great. He introduces him to Mark, which is the name of the subscriber. And he's like, Mark knows a lot. He just started here, so he's probably going to be good at explaining things that he wishes would have been explained a little bit better to him. So you guys are going to be working together. And Eric is like, oh, it's so great to meet you. I'm so excited to work together. And as soon as the boss walks away, it's like Eric gets possessed by a demon, and he just snaps at him. Listen, man, I've watched tons of investing videos on YouTube, so I don't need any training, okay? I just want you to stay out of my way and let me do what I have to do. My goal is to get in and take over this company in a year. Like, bro is acting like he's straight out of Wolf of Wall Street, you know? I don't think he watched that movie to the end where they go to jail. Like, he's just coming in, I don't need any training. I'm not saying that there's not a lot of like knowledge on YouTube. You can learn about a lot of stuff on YouTube, but I do feel like, once again, investment banking is one of those things that like YouTube videos doesn't count as real world experience. Imagine there's a medical emergency and the guy pulls up and he's like, all right, guys, don't worry. I've watched a YouTube video on how to perform a lobotomy. And they're like, dude, his ankle is broken. Why would you need to do brain surgery? You can learn a lot. You can have a lot of real world experience. And some people are geniuses and they don't need it. But that's not this situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're a savant and you're just out there trading stocks on your own and you're a multi-billionaire, none of this applies to you because you're a 1 in a bajillion chance. You're like the Taylor Swift of the investing world. But whatever, he just gets really snappy acting like he knows it all. And Mark doesn't really know how to react to this, so he tries to nicely tell him, like, you know, I'm glad you've learned about this a little bit, and I had a bunch of previous knowledge coming in too, but there's a lot of stuff that you probably don't know about that we have to kind of go over, like there's a lot of laws and regulations. And Eric cuts him off and says, you old folks don't get it anymore, all right? I get that you're threatened because you realize I'm the future, but it is what it is. And at that point, Mark decides that he's not going to go out of his way to help this dude. He's just gonna let him do what he has to do. And the way that they train new people just to see their level of knowledge and like see if they could understand concepts being taught to them but not risk the business any money, is they had the entire like the trading account management set up, not necessarily like day trading, but just portfolio management set up. And then they would give them $50,000, but like fake money, but they didn't tell them that. Like it was the real software, but the money was not real. The prices were real. The movements were real. So that way, if they're an idiot and they like break the law, it's not like this entire investment bank has to go belly up. They're just training them. And it's not a ginormous investment bank, by the way. I didn't realize that there's some that are not big. In my mind, all of them are just like Goldman Sachs because I don't know a lot about it. But this guy's is like, you know, there's like 40 people that work there. It's relatively large. And so he sets him up the account and he's like, all right, well, if you need anything, please let me know. Like, I'm seriously here to help. I just started about 2 years ago, so like I can help you. And once again, Eric cuts him off and he's like, listen, Mark, I don't need your help. All right. I'm here to outperform you. Okay. And he just can't believe the ego on this dude. Because here's the thing. Obviously, if you're at the job to make money for people, then like you want to be the best at making money. Everyone knows that. That's just like an unspoken agreement amongst everybody there. But you don't have to throw your coworkers in the dumpster to do it. Like everyone can make money, you know? It's not like only one of you has to have the ability to make money there. You have to snuff out everybody else. Hopefully, there's not only one guy at the bank that's capable of making money at a time. Could you imagine how bad the Sith would be at business? Awkward Star Wars side note, but like, okay, there's only 2 of them. No wonder they haven't been able to succeed, dude. They don't have the funds. Oh no, there's 2 of us, like the Jedi, dude. You know, they figured it out. For a while, all right, we're not going to talk about what happened after, but for a while, think about it.
How are you supposed to scale your business without, like, a bunch of employees? And stormtroopers don't count because they suck. Like, let's be honest. We've seen stormtrooper accuracy. Either way, he's just really gonna let this kid, like, jump into the deep end, and if he can swim, sweet, but if not, it's not his problem anymore. But they had a way to make sure that if somebody was, like, gonna really deny the training, that they had to sign an agreement with their trainer just so that way they couldn't go to the boss later and be like, oh, well, they never taught me anything, it's their fault. So you have to sign a paper being like, I told them that I do not want any training. I am 100% sure that I don't want any training. In fact, if anyone tries to train me, I will do the most insane 360 no-scope Cobra Kai kick that you've ever seen in your life, and I will disconnect your jaw from the rest of your skull. But he goes to tell his boss about it because, you know, it's his boss's son, so if he's gonna mess up and, like, not sign this training agreement and not take any training, then he figures that his boss probably should know about it just to be aware of it. And his boss is like, can you please try to help him? You know, please, like, go in there and try one more time. And so Mark, being guilt-tripped by his boss, decides that he's going to go try one more time to talk to Eric. So he goes over there, and Eric literally, before he even says anything, says, go away, Mark, I'm trying to work. So he goes back to his boss, almost like he's playing ping pong back and forth, and tells him. And so his boss says he's going to go try. So he goes to Eric's cubicle and says, wait here to Mark, like in his office. And he comes back 15 minutes later looking mad and says to Mark that Eric told him, the boss, that he was gunning for his job and he doesn't want any help. And even Mark is flabbergasted by that. Like, it's one thing to tell off some dude, I guess, that you don't really know, but to tell the guy that is giving you the chance to screw off and you're gunning for his job is a little out there. Like, that's a little disrespectful, you know? Even if your dad is super high up in the company, I don't think he would like that, because I'm sure he would not appreciate somebody coming in and speaking to him like that the same way, you know? He is your boss at the end of the day. So whatever, he's over here threatening everybody's job like he's just got the ability to just, you fired everybody. But then he pulls something out that surprises Mark. He has another letter where he rejected training from the boss. So now they have proof that he's rejected training from 2 different people. And he kind of asks his boss, like, well, why did you get a second one, you know? And he says, because I just, by the vibe the kid gave me about gunning for my job, know that the kid's going to do something shady if he can't perform. Like, he's going to try to find a way to blame us, and it's just a gut feeling. So they're waiting in the office, kind of talking about stuff, and about 30 minutes later, after this entire interaction, right? So not a very long period of time, Eric comes into the boss's office, doesn't knock, just flings the door open and walks in. Hey, I need more money in that account. I'm almost out of the 50. And they're like, what do you mean? And he says, yeah, I made a few bad trades, you know, just beginner's bad luck, so I'm going to need some more money because it's gone. And they're like, dude, there was $50,000 in that account. How did you do that? Keep in mind, they tell the new guys that it's real. It's not like this guy is aware of the fact that it was play money and he was taking risks that maybe he wouldn't with real money. They think it's real. So he's just casually coming in like, oh, I just lost 50 grand. It doesn't matter. And so they're asking him, like, why did he do that? How did he do that? Like, how is he not freaking out? And he just kind of shrugs his shoulders and goes, I know sometimes you got to spend money to make money, huh? Yeah, dude, but you're not opening a business. That's not like a saying for investment banking. Your only job is to take money and turn it into more money. That's literally it. That is literally your only job. Spending money to make money applies to like advertising for a business, you know, maybe buying new equipment, getting a new website or something. It doesn't necessarily apply to like investment banking. Oh, hey, I took all of the money you gave me to invest and I spent it all. We're not going to get any of it back, but I will say that it was sweet. And if you're asking why I did it, you got to spend money to make money. So somewhere along this line, we're going to make the money back because I spent it and it is going to be a good time. Like, that's just not how it works. The boss, though, knows that Eric isn't just like the standard guy, and because it is $50,000 in fake money, he has to be careful because he doesn't want him to go to his boss and get him fired. So he says that he's going to give him an additional $50,000. Tells him it's real money, you know, it's not, but makes it very clear to Eric that this is real. And he says, okay, I'll be careful, just put it in my account, and he walks out before anything else can be said. And Mark looks at his boss and is like, why did you give him another $50,000? Why are you doing all this? And he says, well, the guy just lost $50,000 in 30 minutes. So when I inevitably have to fire him and I have to have that conversation with my boss, who's his dad, I have to make sure that I have some pretty good reasonings as to why that went down. And if the kid manages to lose $100,000 in the first 2 weeks of working here, I feel like that's a pretty good reason. And it stinks that, that's the way the world works sometimes. You have to have double extra proof that somebody's not cut out for the job because of who their parents is, bro. Parents are. Sorry, that was just a real bad English moment. But you guys get what I'm saying. If this was anybody else and you managed to lose $50,000 in 30 minutes, they probably just would have escorted you out. It's not like you would have gotten another chance at that point. But maybe, just maybe, Eric got off to a bad start. He can pull it out. Nope. Absolutely not. 2 days later, Eric runs out of money and storms in asking for more. And Mark happened to be in the office that time too, and his boss says, no, you need to have a seat, Eric, we have to talk. And he tells him that they're going to have to let him go because it's just not working out. He had lost $100,000 in a week. He had refused to listen. It's just not going to work. And Eric just starts going absolutely ballistic, How dare you ignore my talent? I'm going to be the best stock investment man of all time. What talent are they ignoring, man? The talent would be if you were good at making money. You actually did the exact opposite. You somehow found a way to do the exact opposite. So the boss doubles down and says, hey, it's just not going to work. You're not cut out for this type of stuff. And Eric, of course, pulls out the big guns. Do you have any idea who my dad is? And the boss is very blunt and says, it's not going to work. I would not recommend getting your dad involved. And Eric gets up, pulls out his phone, and starts yelling that, just wait till my father hears about this. Some straight up Charlie and the Chocolate Factory level stuff. And storms out. And they see him out in the parking lot on the phone talking, and he's super animated, so you can tell he's just pissed off. And he hangs up and comes back in all smug and says that, my dad's gonna come in and talk to you about this. And the boss doesn't get scared. He just smiles and says, all right, man, I told you wouldn't want to get your father involved, because he had just fallen into the trap card, bro. Now he gets to explain to your dad how bad you are at this. And about an hour later, a dude in a suit comes in, clearly a very important fellow, and he's like, hi, I'm blank, I'm here to meet with your manager, and they go into this room, and Eric and Mark are called in since Mark witnessed everything and Eric's involved. And the dad opens extremely pissed off. Rip, I thought I could trust you to train my son. He says you didn't train him and you set him up to fail to make an example out of him. You should have given him some training. It's not his fault he couldn't perform since he wasn't trained. And the boss doesn't let Eric's dad finish before he has the forms out. He doesn't interrupt him, but as he's speaking, he pulls the forms out. And as the dad finishes his little rant about how no one trained him, he hands him the papers and he says, well, here's the 2 papers that he signed saying that he did not want our training and that we were not to get involved with him at all. And I think, what was it? And he looks at Eric, buzz off. Is that what you said? And Eric kind of eyes go wide and he realizes, oh crap, this might not go the way that I thought it was going to go. And his dad's face changes and he looks at Eric and he's like, Eric, why did you say that you didn't want help? Why did you do this? And even then, you denied it from 2 people. Why did you go out of your way to sign these? And Eric, still a little bit embarrassed, but not fully gone of his ego, decides to double down. I know what I'm doing, Dad. I don't need training. And it's at that point that it registers, oh, my kid did this to himself. This is not their fault. Very obviously, there's a problem here. And so he kind of starts trying to double down and says that his trades were making all this money and they don't know where, the idea that he isn't performing comes from. And his boss says, all right, well, let's just pull up your account. And Mark smiles because he knows that this account is going to be just the worst managed thing of all time. And sure enough, he pulls it up, puts it on this big screen for everyone to look at, and he had managed to lose $100,000 somehow before the first week had ended. And he pulls up every transaction. They go over them all, explaining where it was, how much money it lost. And something that you have to realize about the stock market is a broken clock is still right twice a day. The time is still that twice. So even if you're just dumb and you're gambling, eventually you should be able to have a profitable trade. Overall, you'll definitely lose money, but everyone could have doubled their money one time if you're just throwing money into random stuff. This guy had somehow managed to lose money on every trade, which is almost more impressive. Like, he somehow actually beat the odds of straight up gambling at being bad. That's going above and beyond. That means he wasn't just picking random stuff. He was putting research in and just being wrong every single time. So it takes a while, but they finally get to the end of all these transactions. And Eric is sinking into his chair the entire time because he realizes what's going to happen. But now his dad is pissed off too, and he turns to Eric and he's like, "You told me you were doing good and they weren't teaching you anything." And Eric, not realizing how dumb this sound goes, "Well, it would have been fine if they went the opposite direction." Yeah, that's not really how it works, you know? If you put money in a company expecting it to go up and it goes down, you can't go, "Oh, man, 50-50 chance." Like, you still lost money. It's not just a coin flip. And so at that point, his dad turns to Mark and his boss and starts apologizing and is like, "I'm so sorry. I get it. I understand that Eric can't work here anymore." And Eric interrupts his dad and is like, "What about my job? I need to work." And his dad now is fully embarrassed. Remember, he drove away from his job to come down here and like try to get involved and keep his son's job. And he says that he's just been embarrassed enough. Eric blew this opportunity. He's not going to go to bat for him anymore. And Eric starts looking like the whole world just landed on his shoulders, bro. The first time he had heard no in his life, the first time he had ever failed. And they end up leaving. But the entire time, the boss is like super apologetic, which is good on him. I feel like most people probably would have either been mad or been embarrassed and just fled as fast as possible. At least he had the awareness to realize that it was his kid's fault. Either way, I am going to give credit to Mark's boss for knowing exactly how that was going to go down. He's like, "Look, we need the forms. We need to make sure that we got enough proof to show that it's really not going to work," because he did exactly what he thought he was going to do. Eric, a little bit of advice, man. There's plenty of ways to be very successful that don't involve like working and investing. You know, there's tons of people that make a lot of money not in investment banking. I think you're going to have to be one of those people. You sound extra bad at investing. It's not for everybody. Either way, that's the first story that I have for today's video. If you enjoyed it, I'd appreciate you pressing the like button, and let's get on to the next. Alright, before we get into the next story time, on screen now is a gift card code. I give one of these away in every video, just to say thank you to everyone who's subscribed with those notifications on. So if you haven't already, you might as well just scroll down there, subscribe, turn on those noties, and if you already are, then you're a legend. You already know. So yeah, I'll shut up and let's get into the next story. Alright, this next one was sent in to me by somebody named Max who works at a store in the mall. And it's like one of the 4 stores in every mall that sells the exact same stuff, but they all have different names and they're all a different company, but they sell the exact same thing. And it was right around back to school time, and it just so happened that this mall still is a madhouse. I was kind of surprised it still gets busy there. I feel like everyone just does the online shopping thing, but people are everywhere. It's packed. Some people are like just throwing clothes up in the air just to try to make a distraction while they run for the exit. It's been a crazy day. And this guy comes in with his mom, and something is very weird about the way they're staring at him. It's almost like they're sizing him up, and he doesn't know them. He's just working. And he walks up to them because they're staring at him, and he's like, "Hey, can I help you guys with anything?" And they both look at him, very clearly look at his name tag, and then go, "Max!" And he's confused because, like I said, he has no clue who these people are. Like, 100% does not know them. And so he tries to, like, nicely ask, "Hey, who are you guys? It's been a while. I don't really recognize you. You look so different." And the spoiled kid, who I'm just going to refer to as spoiled kid, goes, "Max, are you kidding me? Come on, it's me, bro." And Max is just kind of standing there staring at him. And he's like, "I'm sorry, I'm confused." And he, instead of explaining who he is, saying a name or anything, goes, "Oh, Max, it's totally cool. Anyways, since we're old friends, can I use your employee discount?" And it clicks. Oh, they were sizing me up because they were like, "I bet you we can trick that guy into letting us use his employee discount." He probably thought that most people in a very awkward situation like this wouldn't want to admit, "Bro, I don't know you," so they would just be nice and let you use the discount. I don't know, that still seems like a long shot, but either way, Max is like, "I don't know these." So now that he realizes that they're trying to mess with him, he decides that he's going to troll them back. Because look, if you're going to make me pretend to know you to try to get a discount, like, I feel like trolling them back is just allowed. And so Max, not wanting to get played, says, anyways,
I'm more than happy to let you use the employee discount, but our policy is that you have to know my mom's name. Like, that's how close we have to be. And the kid and the Karen look at each other like deer in headlights and are shocked. And the spoiled kid's like, oh, come on, Max, there's no need for that. Like, come on, we go way back. And it's not even a rule. Like, he totally made that up. He just wanted to mess with them. And so Max decides to mess with them a little bit further. He has this woman manager that's a little bit older who's insanely chill, like the best manager to work with, super fun, great. And they kind of have fun trolling rude customers from time to time. And so he calls her over and she comes over and he's like, hey, do you recognize them? And she says no, because obviously she doesn't. And the spoiled kid, who, keep in mind, goes way back with Max, definitely knows his mom's name, but isn't going to say it right now, goes, oh, who is this? And Max takes this chance to mess with him and goes, dude, it's my mom. Don't you know her? And you would have thought that the two of them saw a ghost. They were like, so great to see you. And like I said, this manager's super chill and fun to work with, so she kind of rolls with it and is like, oh, are you a friend of Max's? It's so great to get to know people that are friends with my son. And they start freaking out, and they're like, well, yeah, it's so great to see you. And so Max says, yeah, they say they know us, Mom. Where do we know you from? And once they start asking questions, the mom grabs her son by the arm and says, whoops, we were mistaken, let's go. And before they can peel out of there, which is clearly their intention, Max, wanting to just like drive home the embarrassment a little bit, goes, oh, you were mistaken? Well then, why did you say my name? Like, you said my name, you know? How would you be mistaken if you knew my name? And they both just get really bright-eyed and don't say anything and just run out of the store. They don't literally run, but you know that like hurried walk that people do when they've clearly got somewhere to be, but it's inappropriate to run in public? I'm just saying, if I see an adult running in public outside of like literally running clothes, like if someone's running in running clothes, you know what's happening. But if you ever see a dude in a suit just sprinting, I'm just going to assume that whatever is that direction is scary. Like, because why is a dude in a suit sprinting that way? Either way, that was stupid. I apologize. I don't know. They leave. Him and the manager crack up, but then they start talking about it, and they're like, I don't really even understand the point. You're just going to confuse me into thinking I know you for like a 10% off code? Like, dude, just go online and look one up. If anything, I feel like it's easier to get those discount codes online rather than going in and trying to convince someone that you're old childhood friends. Super sick that you have a manager that just kind of lets you troll customers though, you know? Like, most managers would be like, that's so inappropriate! Alright, and the last story I have, yeah, that's right, there's another one. You know what? I'm gonna do it again. Press the like button, because we're 26 minutes in and I still got another one. Anyways, this is from something that I witnessed. So I end up going to this restaurant with a few of my friends, which is like downtown in the town I live in. And there's always something dumb going on downtown in the town I live in. In the town I live in. Why did I like just do a country song stutter right there? I apologize. Anyways, we walk in and we see like a huge 1 in 8 balloon, and we assume that someone is either turning 81 or 18, because those are the two combinations right there, and we don't see a ton of old people, so we just assume there's gonna be a birthday party. And we walk past it in the lobby, and after that, I kind of forgot it existed. It's not like it was something that I really was sitting there thinking about. Who really cares? People have birthdays, people have balloons. It's not a big deal. It's just funny because it involves later the spoiled kid having to like sadly take the balloons out. Anyways, we start like eating our meal and we're just having ourselves a normal conversation, and all of a sudden we hear this commotion behind us. It's like a ton of screaming, and we turn around and we see this guy holding the balloons and he's yelling, "It's my birthday!" And it's not like in a celebratory, like, it's my birthday way, you know, it's a very angry, it's my birthday, like he's telling somebody off, a very angry man. And the entire restaurant gets really quiet because obviously everyone's turning their attention to this and kind of like, hold on, let's see what's going on. I'm not saying that reality television is just based on society, but I think if people start making a scene, the natural human reaction is to just watch. I think that's why reality TV does well, because it's just people making a scene all the time. Anyways, what's very apparent is he's yelling at somebody for ordering something that he doesn't like. Keep in mind, they're not ordering it for him. It's not like, oh, we only get to order one thing and we're all gonna share. There's a ton of people. They had just ordered something that they wanted to eat that he was not a fan of. And he's yelling at them because apparently it's insanely rude to order something that the host doesn't like if you're out at a restaurant, but you're not the host, you're at a restaurant, and on top of that, who cares? Like, that's so stupid, bro. There's some food that I'm not a fan of, but if I'm out to dinner with my friend and they order it, I'm not gonna be like, oh, are you disgusting? Do you know how rude you are? No, who cares? Like, people have different tastes, dude. Imagine getting yelled at because you ordered something someone else doesn't like. And of course, the person isn't really taking it, but they're not yelling back. The only reason we know is because the birthday boy just kept yelling, like, you can't argue with me on my birthday. Are you crazy? Do you remember that old Tyler the Creator Vine where it's like, what, did you bring me a birthday gift for my birthday on my birthday to celebrate my birthday? And he smashes the wine glass. That was really the vibe of what was going on. Like, you can't argue with me. It's my birthday. I hate people that think their birthday just gives them an excuse to do whatever they want. Like, congratulations, it's your birthday. It is a special day. People should be nicer to you than normal. However, I do think some people take it too far and they're like, whatever, officer, who cares that I punched the police horse? It's my birthday. And it's like, oh, you can't do that. You can't really scream at everybody and freak out on them just because it's your birthday. But whatever, everyone's just kind of watching, and the manager walks up at this point because he's realized everybody's watching. And then the birthday boy starts going off on the manager because it's his birthday. Who do you think you are? You can't tell me what to do. Do you have any clue what day it is? Yes, you can probably guess what day it is. I don't want to say it again. And you can't really hear the manager because he's not yelling, but he's trying to kick the party out. And the entire party, realizing that they're causing a scene and everyone's staring, they just get up and leave, except for the birthday boy. Like, they realize, all right, let's get out of here. This is insanely embarrassing. I don't want to be here. But the birthday boy stands there and keeps arguing. And it was like everyone hit their maximum embarrassment and left but him. He proceeds to start going in on the manager. I'm talking about every insult under the sun. He's calling him stupid. He's calling him poor. He's calling him just like a loser. You name it. He's hurling it at him. And he's taking it like a champ. Honestly, dude, this guy definitely grew up in a Call of Duty lobby because he was like, oh, that's it? That's all you got? I'm a stupid poor loser? Oh, okay, buddy. Yeah, all right, look at you. You're freaking out holding balloons, buddy. Like, what do you want me to do? Take this insult seriously? Anyways, he lets that out and the manager goes, happy birthday, get out, and walks away, which was just an absolute G move. And after that, the birthday boy stomps outside and starts yelling at everybody out there for leaving. He probably was like, oh, why'd you guys abandon me? But I'll tell you why, because you were freaking out and causing a scene for literally no reason, and everyone was staring at you because it's your birthday. I feel like after that, I would definitely not go to that person's birthday again. I probably wouldn't really hang out with them either. Like, dang, man, that's a little wild. At least this person's not, like, insanely old. Like, 18 is definitely too old to be doing this, but, like, at least it's not a 37-year-old. Like, at that point, you're just not gonna change. You know, I feel like people can change a ton when they're like, a young adult, like, 18, 20, 30s. Once you hit, like, 40, though, bro, like, how much change are you really gonna do? Maybe that's doomer of me, because I'm not that old yet. Anyways, guys, I think that's going to do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, I'd really appreciate you taking a second to press the like button. If you also enjoyed, you should go ahead and comment. This was a really long one, so I'd appreciate the comment and the like. It just helps the video do better. And if you're new, subscribe, turn on those notifications so you never miss out. And if you want to listen to this in a podcast form, I do post these on Spotify as a podcast. Feel free to check that out. And because the Christmas season is approaching, I'm going to take the time to plug the Christmas Karen sweater. Look at this thing. It's absolutely glamorous. Back again this year. So if you want to get the Karen Christmas sweater, I'll throw the link down below. No pressure. But on that note, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. And I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrubby here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. And today I've got a compilation of some of the videos I've made where we just make fun of dumb criminals. I figured you guys might enjoy it, so sit back, relax, and enjoy. Oklahoma man leads authorities on pursuit, found hours later hiding in cow manure. I would just love to know what was going through his head, right? Like, he gets out of the car. All right, he's fleeing on foot. He's running through a field. He hears the sirens. Crap, man. They're closing in on me. There's nowhere to go. Where should I hide? He starts looking around. There's tall grass. There's the woods. He looks around a little more. He sees some cows over there, and like a light bulb appears over his head. Ah, yes. Piles of cow turds. Exactly what I needed in this moment.
just runs over, dives in like somebody diving into the deep end of the pool, you know? Like, you know the Scrooge McDuck dive where you put your legs above your head? That's how he went full frontal into this cow manure, bro. You know when they found him, they were like, oh, man, I don't want to put you in the back of my car. My backseat's gonna smell like cow poop for a week. That had to add insult to injury. He's like getting processed into the jail, just absolutely covered from head to toe in cow turd. An Oklahoma man was arrested after leading authorities on a pursuit that ended with him hiding in cow manure for hours. Police in Nowata County, Oklahoma, say 23-year-old Wolf October Berry initially fled from officers who were attempting to make a traffic stop for not wearing a seatbelt, they reported. I mean, I know you get in trouble for not wearing a seatbelt. Like, I'm not saying he wouldn't have gotten in trouble, but I just feel like you don't get in the trouble that was worth it to take them on a high-speed chase, flee on foot, and then hide and poop for hours. Like, I don't know what they do if they catch you not wearing a seatbelt. I just wear mine, but I'm going to assume it's more of a ticket than it is, like, whatever he's going to get taken in for now. He's going to get before the judge. All right, so they pulled you over for a seatbelt. You took them on a 30-mile high-speed chase before proceeding to pull over, run, and dive into a pile of cow turds. Is that correct? Yes, Your Honor. Like, I just don't understand why any of this went down, bro. You know the guy who pulled him over must have been confused, too. He's like, the guy's not wearing his seatbelt, you know, I'll write him a ticket, pulls him over, all of a sudden it's a high-speed chase. He's like, I just want you to put on your seatbelt. I'm not saying that Wolf is a bad name, but I'm saying it's kind of a weird name, especially if you end up like hiding in poop. A guy named Wolf hiding in poop just makes it a little bit more bizarre than if his name was like Nathan or something. It would still be weird. I would still make fun of the Nathan that was hiding in poop, but like the name Wolf, oh, okay, man, were your parents furries or something? Like, what's going on here? Wolf October Berry. That is a name, ladies and gentlemen. It certainly is definitely a name. Barry sped away from officers and drove down a county road before crashing and continuing to flee on foot. Alright, so this happens a lot. For those of you that don't know, like, I talk about criminals like this a lot on this channel, and I don't know what it is, probably something to do with high speeds while running away from somebody, but the amount of high-speed crashes that end up with them crashing, or high-speed chases that end up with a crash, there you go. Whatever, English, you know what I'm trying to say. Like, they end up in crashes so often, and I'm just saying, I don't trust my driving skills enough to ever get into a high-speed chase. I just think I would end up crashing. But if you are gonna take them on a chase, you know, you really think you're gonna get away with running from the cops, you've got to be a better driver than this, man. Like, every single time we talk about one of these, it ends up with someone crashing into something. You decided to try to drive away from the cops when you, like, aren't even a good driver in a video game, man. And I'm not saying I'm a fantastic driver, all right? I don't think I would have fared much better in this situation. I don't want anyone to misconstrue it. I don't think I'm Baby Driver. But that's why I'm not committing to the high-speed chase either, because I'm gonna end up like a dummy crashing my car and then having to run on foot and hide in cow poop. Multiple hours in cow poop. What do you think during that time, man? Like, I feel like after 10 minutes of hiding in the cow poop, I would have just wanted to turn myself in. Like, this is really rock bottom. That's how you know you hit rock bottom, is when you're running from the cops and having to hide in piles of poop. Authorities say Barry was located later that day after hiding in cow manure for several hours. It's the several hours part that really does it for me. Like, I mean, I still wouldn't get it, but whatever. You're running through the woods, you're like, crap, I need somewhere to hide, there's some crap. So you just run over, you dive in, you didn't realize it was a cow turd, you thought it was a pile of dirt. Like, I understand how maybe that happens for a second. But for a few hours, you have to have thought it was a little cozy. Maybe it was like, you know that scene in Empire Strikes Back, the Star Wars film, where they're out on Hoth and the Tauntaun, they have to cut it open and crawl inside of it to, like, survive the night? Is that kind of what it felt like? Just a warm little cocoon of some cow turd keeping you nice and cozy while the police were looking for you? Man, he really hid in crap for hours for, like, no reason, really. That really adds insult to injury. It still would have been a crappy story and a crappy situation even if he got away, because you had to hide and poop for hours. But the fact that he literally laid in turds for multiple hours for no reason, he still got caught. Man, something about that. You know he's just sitting in the jail right now like, I shouldn't have hidden the turd. You know what? If I could do it all over again, I should have just taken the ticket. I would love to know if the cops knew he was in the pile of turds, but just were waiting for him to move. They were taking bets on how long he would be there. They're like, how long do you think he'll lay in that pile of crap? I don't know, 2 hours? No way. 10 minutes. They're like placing bets. The entire department's getting in on it. Meanwhile, he's just laying over there in the turd pile, just rolling in circles. Wow, this is so warm. Barry has been charged with eluding police, running a roadblock, possession of a stolen property over $1,000, and possession of a firearm and commission of a felony, according to deputies. A loaded 9mm semi-automatic was found in Barry's truck, along with stolen property he allegedly acquired by burglarizing 2 nearby properties. Oh, well, that would explain a little bit more why he ran. Like, it makes more sense than just the seatbelt thing. I still don't agree. You just shouldn't have broken into anyone's house and taken things, and you could have avoided this entire situation. But at least he didn't just go run and dive into the poop for hours over a seatbelt. That was really gonna just leave me puzzled for the rest of the day, bro. I would have been trying to eat some macaroni and cheese later. Why was he in the poop? Why didn't he just wear his seatbelt? Oh, man, I can't keep having these questions. Really, I just would not recommend running from the cops, and if you really don't want to have to run from the cops, then just don't break into 2 nearby properties. Or if you are going to break into 2 nearby properties, then don't have it all in your truck while not wearing a seatbelt. Just don't break into properties. Forget that last thing I said, but you know what I'm saying. Just like, don't do it. It's just, no one wins. And another moral of the story, cow poop does not make a fantastic hiding place. It doesn't matter how often the Google search results say it's a great place to hide. It's trolling you. They're trying to get you to dive into the turds. They don't think you're going to do it, so don't listen. Now that Google's AI is becoming sentient, it's going to start doing that. Like, it's going to start messing with people's Google results just to get something funny. Like, the president is going to Google, how to find password for iPhone. And it's going to be like, haha, I made him punch in the code for the nukes. Maybe that's what happened here. It told him, go hide in the poop. He was like, brilliant. $8 million home broken into for house party documented on social media. Oh, yeah, guys, let's break into a mansion. I feel like a mansion's gonna have better security than most places, and the owner of the mansion is going to be insanely pissed if you break into it and trash it for a party. Plus, this is just one of those things where the risk reward doesn't seem that good. Like, okay, the risk is you get arrested for, I don't know, burglary, breaking and entering, a whole litany of crimes. The reward is, I don't know, you're known for committing the crime. Like, you're the guy that broke into the mansion and threw the party, but then everyone's talking about how you're the guy that broke into the mansion and threw the party, so you're probably gonna get charged for the breaking and entering. It just does not seem worth the calculation in my head. And what especially makes it even stupider to me is just the photos that they posted not even trying to hide their face. Like, okay, some stuff was stolen, and here's a dude who posted a selfie with a bunch of the rings on. As you can tell, made sure that his face was clearly in view of the picture. What an absolute criminal mastermind. And listen, I'm not saying that this guy took anything from the house. Who knows? He might have just taken the selfie. Someone else could have taken things. Like, who knows? But what is known is that you're the guy in the selfie with the stuff from the house. So at the bare minimum, the police know you're involved and they're asking you questions. A sheriff's office is trying to identify the people responsible for breaking into a multi-million-dollar home and throwing a large party. The Walton County Sheriff's Office posted about the incident Monday afternoon, saying deputies were called to the home in Watercolor early Saturday morning, and they received a noise complaint from security for the unincorporated community located on the northwest Gulf Coast of Florida. Of course, it's Florida. You guys know the drill. It's not a real Scrubby day unless one of the videos takes place for some reason in the state of Florida, dude. Everything goes down there. I love how the police are like, oh, we need help identifying the people. You're telling me that you don't know who they are when they posted the selfie? I mean, probably had no record or something, but still, it should be relatively easy to track this down. I don't really know what these kids expected. We're gonna break into a huge multi-million-dollar mansion, all right? We're gonna trash it, throw a huge party. We're going to get a noise complaint because we're in a really bougie, fancy community, and we're gonna post selfies the entire time. Like, did you really think no one was gonna call the cops on the insane house party on the house that's supposed to be empty? Yeah, I swear the guy doesn't live there anymore, but there's some insane party going on. I guess some teenagers ended up buying the $8 million mansion, probably with their fancy schmancy crypto. Yeah, I think they were going to be catching on pretty quick. In fact, if the security guard in the neighborhood went by, he would have known too. I think it's probably the security guard's job to make sure everybody there is supposed to be there. Oh wow, 80 cars in front of a mansion that's supposed to be abandoned. Nothing suspicious there. That loud music is probably just the ghost getting groovy. Here's another one of the pictures that was in the article. There was a bunch more, but, not hiding their faces at all. Hey guys, look at us. OMG, we broke into this mansion. We're so quirky. It's nuts that they just kind of posted this on a public story on any social media and expected nobody to like screenshot it or notice it. I feel like everybody has at least one person on their social media that would show it to someone, that would say something. Like, there's no way everybody that you're friends with on social media is super cool with the idea of you breaking into mansions and throwing a party. And especially because stuff ended up going missing from the house. I don't know if anyone in any of the pictures had anything to do with that. I'm not accusing them of anything, but especially knowing that is out there when they blast all these out saying that they're looking for these people to answer questions about what's missing, someone's gonna say something, man. Like, if you're going to do insanely stupid things, I've never understood the desire to post them as publicly as human possible. Hey guys, just stole a car, LOL, on my way to rob a bank now. Like, what are you doing, man? You just shouldn't do it, period. It's a bad idea to break into a mansion. But if you are going to do it, why post the incriminating evidence on the internet? Oh, hey, we definitely want to get caught for this. Maybe it's just all for attention from the parents or something, but there has to be some logical explanation why these people were just so dumb. And what really sucks is there probably is no logical explanation. It's probably just like, oh no, I thought it was cool. An open house party is against the law, the sheriff's office said in a new release. An open house party is a home you break into and it's a burglary. The homeowners were not aware of the party, according to the sheriff's office, and the sheriff's office stated when deputies arrived, most of the people left the scene. Since then, videos are circulating on Snapchat, Instagram, and other social media platforms with some of the highlights, including where some of the people turn the foyer of the $8 million home into a boxing ring. I mean, anytime you get a huge crowd of people into any situation and like they're already breaking the rules, mob mentality is going to kick in. I'm not surprised that they ended up establishing a boxing ring in the middle of the mansion. Duh, it was a giant party. Someone was going to get into a fight. And on top of it, like, dude, remember the time we boxed in the mansion, man? That was so sick. I love how they're still sharing the videos. You know, like at the time of the party, maybe you get caught up in the moment and you post it. It's still really stupid. I don't get it. But the fact that they're still sharing and circulating them, even though the cops are just saying that they're looking for everybody involved, goes to show how poorly thought out this was. Hey guys, did you see that the cops are looking for these videos? 18 attachments. It's just all the videos the cops are looking for. Sure am glad we recorded all of these since we were all involved. They just add 911 to the group chat. Please do not come look for us. We had nothing to do with the party. Like, man, dude, these people seriously are not criminal masterminds. Obviously, anyone who breaks into a mansion to throw a party isn't, but goodness gracious, it's almost embarrassing how much they just incriminated themselves. Videos posted by the sheriff's office showed people boxing in the home, and deputies said the home was damaged during the party and items were stolen. Apart from the damage caused and items stolen, it's a complete violation of someone's home that you can't put a price on. The sheriff's office stated that the feeling when you know someone went into your closet, tried on your clothes, and used your bathroom doesn't have a dollar amount attached to it, especially in a place where you're supposed to feel safe. Yeah, it would definitely be uncomfortable knowing that like thousands of strangers were in my house, especially if I had a mansion. Like, oh, thousands of people just know where this mansion is, the layout of it, and then I have a bunch of expensive things here. Yep, I'm supposed to feel perfectly safe, like it's just basically waiting till somebody robs you. And maybe that's just me being paranoid. In fact, I'm like 95% sure that's me being paranoid. But still, no one would like knowing that their home was broken into, and I think it would add insult to injury that your home was broken into for something as dumb as just a random house party. And not even by smart people, but by people that just posted the videos of them doing it online. Like, oh, okay, so not only did you guys break into my house, but you were dumb about it, and now I feel unsafe. It's just the trifecta of suck. If you were there, know someone who were there, were invited, knows who circulated the flyers for the party, because we know about that too, you're asked to come forward. Do yourself a favor and let us know. Come clean and give us the information we need to hold those responsible. And then they say where to contact them. I'm not advocating snitching, but someone's going to snitch. There was just too many people at that party for everyone to keep their mouth shut, especially now that they've posted this. Someone's parents gonna know they were at the party and think their kid's gonna get in trouble and make them say something. There's just too many people involved for you not to get in trouble, especially when you've been posting your face online. There's no plausible deniability. That's not me. Oh, this selfie of you in the house is not you. Like, it's just not gonna work very well. well. Anytime there's this many moving parts, there's just no way it's gonna stay as secret as it should or needs to stay. So if you were involved, then good luck. Hopefully you didn't post the selfies of you there. And now that everybody knows someone's gonna say something, it's just gonna be a race for everyone to say something first so they can get like the best deal and avoid the most trouble. So yeah, good luck. Seriously, don't know why you would want to break into an $8 million house to throw a party. You're just gonna get yourself in massive amounts of trouble. Definitely not worth it. Would not recommend. And if you are going to do it, don't post it on the internet and incriminate yourself. If you do anything illegal, then just don't post it on Instagram. I thought that was obvious. I thought that was just something everybody knew, but apparently not. Man steals patrol car and responds to call intoxicated. Like, I don't know why you would choose to steal a police car. Just don't steal any car. Grand Theft Auto is not a very sick crime. But that being said, if you're gonna steal a cop car's gotta be the worst one. And what makes you, when you're like in the cop car you just stole, think, I better go respond to this call, because when the real cops show up, they won't be mad that I'm there. They're going to be like, oh, sick, 2 birds with 1 stone. We're responding to the call, and we're going to get the dummy that stole a cop car earlier tonight. Literally the easiest job of all time. Jeremiah James Taylor, 33, allegedly broke into the unstaffed Park County Sheriff's Lake George substation and stole a marked 2013 Dodge Durango, and he went to the location of a domestic violence call before 3:30 a.m. that was broadcast on the Teller County Police Channel. The people at the home said he appeared to be intoxicated and asked, where's the old man that's gonna shoot someone? When Teller County Sheriff deputies arrived, he sped off. He really thought it was Grand Theft Auto where you can go to the police station and like steal your car back when it's impounded. I cannot believe that he stole a cop car, hopped on the radio, and then went. Obviously, whatever situation he responded to, the real cops were going to be there trying to like prevent it from getting out of control and actually help the people. But imagine before the real cops get there, you see the cop car pull up, you go outside, you're like, here's the situation, here's what's going on, and out hops just some drunk dude who's like, hey, where's the guy of the 911 call? I just am a police officer and I saved the day. And you're like, I may not be the sharpest tool in the shed, but I can venture out and guess that you might not be a real cop. No, I am. What gave away that I'm not a real cop? I don't know. I don't think cops are allowed to be drunk while driving their police car. Unless they're trying to not be a cop anymore. Like, you're definitely getting fired if you start showing up to calls drunk. Hello, everybody. Is there a cat in the tree? Yes, there is. Well, then I'll hit it with my car. Like, I don't know if they would be very cool with that. I can't believe he was still there when the real cops pulled up, too. They pulled up and said, hey, wait, he's still here? Hold on. Who is that? Is that the stolen car? What? I made a joke about 2 birds with 1 stone because I thought there was no way he was dumb enough to just stay there that long, but apparently he was. It should have been obvious. If this was already a not very well thought out crime, I should have known there was going to be no further thought into it. One of my biggest concerns was that we were going to have a high-speed pursuit with a law enforcement vehicle crashing into an innocent citizen, Park County Sheriff Tom McGraw said. Taylor was spotted 2 hours later, and when deputies pursued him, they say he took off, hitting speeds of 110 miles per hour, broke several traffic laws during the chase. Bro, the sheriff's name is like a knockoff Tim McGraw, though. Mom, can we go see a country concert? No, we have Tim McGraw at home. Tim McGraw at home? Hi, I'm Sheriff Tom McGraw. This guy really loved his stolen cop car. He stole the cop car, goes to the call. The police shows up, so he runs away. And instead of getting out of the cop car, putting it back, anything of the sort, just running, he just keeps driving around for 2 hours, just responding to different calls. How many people were like, yeah, I called the cops and some random drunk guy showed up. That was weird. I mean, you think he would get out of the car at some point and realize the gig is up. They know that he's stolen the car, but just keeping it cruising for as long as possible is a very bizarre move if you don't want to get caught. Nah, whatever. They'll just think I'm one of their cars. Did he not realize that they're all like marked with different numbers and it's very obvious to everybody which one is taken because they'll just tell them what number is taken? Ah, it's the ultimate cover. If I'm in a cop car, the police will never know I'm not one of them. He thinks he's like Solid Snake in the cardboard box crawling around in Metal Gear Solid. That level of disguise, nobody, everybody knew. 110 miles per hour, that's absolutely nuts. You know you would be confused if you're just driving down the road and a police car flies past you at 110 without the lights on, and then a bunch of other cop cars chasing that car, you're like, well, did he go rogue or what is going on? Is this just training? The police are just out practicing their high-speed chase by having one of their friends drive 110 around on the roads. Taylor crashed on Matacat Road around mile marker 4 and ran into the woods, police said. When deputies caught up with him, he was armed with a knife and non-compliant, and they deployed a taser and an officer shot 1 round. No deputies were injured. The sheriff's office said Taylor suffered self-inflicted knife wounds and was taken to the hospital after he was taken into custody. In addition to the list of charges he's facing for the incident, he was also on probation for menacing, theft, and DUI, along with being investigated for several other crimes that occurred in the area previous to the Park County Sheriff's Office burglary. And the charges in this case are aggravated motor vehicle theft, vehicular eluding, impersonating a peace officer, obstruction, resisting arrest, reckless endangerment, second-degree burglary, and reckless driving. Dude, that list sounded more like a bad guy's to-do list than it should be one guy's charges for a single night, you know? Like, tell me that's not something you would see hanging up in a superhero movie in the villain's lair. To do aggravated robbery, to do vehicular eluding. Like, he's just going through all these. The impersonating a peace officer is one of the more interesting ones. That's what happens when you're driving around in a cop car. And responding to calls, I just really don't know what this guy was thinking. And the fact that he was in it for hours, did he just not think he was going to get caught? And plus, I don't know for sure, this is all alleged, you know. If he is allegedly behind some insane crime wave in the area, then they're definitely going to investigate it very thoroughly now. If there's one way to guarantee you stay on the police's radar, it's probably breaking into one of their stations, stealing a car, taking them on a chase, and then making them chase you through the woods. Like, that's probably gonna make them pay some closer attention to you from henceforth. So if you are a career criminal, what, did you just want to play on the hardcore playthrough? I think a high-speed chase in general is always a horrible idea, but it's especially a bad idea if you're intoxicated driving the stolen police car. You're not gonna do better than the people trained to have the high-speed chase, and you're definitely not gonna do better if you're wasted while you're trying to do it. I'll be able to make the turn. Next thing you know, he's got to run through the woods because he crashed it. Everyone at the police office, though, is talking about what SUV they're going to get next. They're like, hear me out, dude. What if we get the supercharged Dodge Durango, since we're going to have to get a new vehicle anyways? Huh? What do you think? They just get like a Lamborghini Urus police car, just keep it rolling. Anyways, guys, I think that'll do it. I just thought this entire story was absolutely bonkers. Don't steal a police car. It should be really obvious to everyone, but especially don't do it and then take them on a chase. If you enjoy man bitten by gator he mistook for a dog in Florida, deputies say. He was hospitalized and the gator was captured. This gator's got a one-way trip to either being destroyed or like a really weird gator zoo in Florida. I don't think they can just let him back out after he's bit someone, which sucks because apparently, according to this story, it wasn't like the gator went looking for a person. It was kind of like somebody walked up to the gator and said, "Aw, look at the puppy." I don't know if that's actually what he said, but still, this is so funny. Not because he's like in the hospital. I'm glad he's going to be okay. He got to the hospital. He's going to be fine. But just because this means for a moment before this guy was bitten by an alligator, he really thought he was about to just like pet a dog. Oh, it's awesome. I'm at this motel party. I'm gonna go pet this dog. It's gonna be sick. What a great way to end the night. Oh my God, it's a dinosaur. Alligators are just leftover dinosaurs. They were so tough, ugly, and mean that even the asteroid couldn't kill them. They're still just kicking around Florida. Them and the anacondas are gonna start having insane battles in the Everglades. It's gonna be like Deadliest Warrior Nature Edition. A man was bitten by an alligator he thought was a dog Tuesday morning in Sarasota County. The incident occurred at 12:30 a.m. at War Mineral Springs Motel on South Tamiami Trail in Northport, according to a report from the Tampa station. All right, dude, I'm not trying to give you life advice. You do whatever you want. You're a Florida man. You do things your way. That being said, one suggestion, even if it was a dog, right? Hypothetically, let's say it was a dog. I would not recommend running after stray dogs that are hanging out behind motels at 12:30. 30 minutes past midnight, no dogs that are fluffy and cute are out roaming around without their owner behind a motel. motel. I mean, maybe if they got lost, I guess that's fair. But still, I just don't recommend chasing stray animals in the middle of the night because you never know, dude. If the dog's been stray long enough, it might give you rabies, or it just might be an alligator. I don't know what was going on in the motel room, okay? I have no clue. I'm not accusing anyone of anything. That being said, maybe there was something that made him maybe see things a little bit differently, you know? Because I just don't understand how you confuse an alligator with a dog. Like, this isn't, oh, I thought the coyote was a dog. I thought the wolf was a dog. Alligator, very short, very long, big tail, you know? Even the small guys have the tail on them that's insanely long. I don't necessarily think it looks like a dog. I've never seen a dog tail that looks like an alligator tail. Maybe I'm not thinking of the right species. Maybe Florida dogs are like bred with alligators to have the tail or something. But I just feel like there has to be some type of explanation as to why he wasn't aware that it was an alligator and thought it was a dog. Because you have a long time approaching the alligator before it's close enough to bite you. Like, he had to have gotten close enough to the alligator for it to bite him and still not realized that it wasn't a dog. Investigators said the man was walking outside the motel overnight when he spotted a dark figure that appeared to look like a dog with a long leash. A sheriff spokesperson wrote in an email to WTSP-TV. You know what? He did get bit by an alligator. Maybe the police were just like, we're not gonna give you a hard time. Your night is already going bad enough. You're walking around behind a motel in the middle of the night. You got bit by an alligator you thought was a dog. We're just gonna take you to the hospital and get this fixed up. Just don't worry about it. No, man, I swear it was a dog, bro. It was going arf arf and it had a leash and the guy walking him said, go ahead and pet my dog. It just wasn't a dog. Where's the guy who was walking him? All right, we're just gonna say that you thought it looked like a dog with a leash, okay? That's just what we're gonna go with. Sick, man. Awesome. Do you guys want any of the... Nope, don't even finish the sentence, because if you tell us, we're gonna have to do something about it. Oh, alright. It sorta sucked that I got bit by an alligator, though. I wish there was something that could have prevented this. Like, I don't know, the guy walking him could have told me that it's actually an alligator. Yep, alright, man. Alright. I've pet alligators before. Last time Shh. Don't tell us what you take. We don't want to know, all right? Whatever it is clearly makes alligators look like dogs, and that's what you need to leave it at. That's okay. We don't want to know more. This is how you take a night and make sure it ends in like the worst possible way. I feel like being bitten by an alligator is a huge buzzkill. You're at the motel. You're like, it's lit. Everything's chilling. Next thing you know, an alligator's hanging off of your leg, and you're like, oh my goodness, it was not a dog after all. The alligator must have been confused too. It's just minding its business, trying to like walk into a retention pond or something. All of a sudden, someone's running up on it. Look at the cute little puppy. Who's a good little dog? Are you lost? Like trying to touch it. Whoa, okay. I live in Florida. I'm used to crazy people, but this is another level. This guy's trying to act like I'm Fido when I'm actually Steve Irwin's favorite thing. Ah, that's a crocodile. I was close. Crocodile, alligator, tomato, whatever. Same thing, different continent. Deputies said the alligator bit the man's right leg as he tried to escape. The station said the man flagged down a deputy who was in the area for an unrelated call, according to the TV station, and the man was taken to a hospital and the gator was captured, the station reported. Oh, okay, so he did get close enough, realize it was an alligator, and try to make an escape. I don't know if you guys knew this. I only know this because of Florida. Alligators are actually insanely quick. Like, if you try to run away in a straight line, they can really catch up pretty easily. It's not too difficult for them. I don't know if they're training for the alligator Olympics or what, but it's kind of terrifying how fast they can be. So he probably got close enough, went, oh crap, that's not a dog, ran away out of fear just to have it run up and snatch his leg. What a horrifying situation. You're running away from an alligator. Don't look back, don't look back, don't look back, and pain in the leg. Oh, yep, don't want to look now. There's an alligator hanging off you. It's insane that he was able to get away. I'm really glad he's gonna be okay. I obviously wouldn't be making this video if it was any different result, but my goodness, he really got away lucky, all things considered, being alone behind a motel with no one to help him, with an alligator running after him and biting his leg. Also insanely lucky that the cop happened to be nearby so he could get help right away. See, he's the god of Florida men. Everything lined up perfectly the way it should be. He said, look, I'm gonna inspire some Florida men here. I'm gonna make them all go hunt down alligators to put dog leashes on as a form of protest protest for it biting me. All the Florida men need to become unified in the fight against the alligator. Soon we shall have to make a choice. Will we let the alligators and pythons and every other snake that people have released that have been going crazy here win? Or will we make this Florida man territory? He's just trying to unify everybody. I just think it's funny that he thought it was a dog. Like, that's the funniest part of this. It's not funny that an alligator attacked someone, but the fact that he was like, oh, I'm gonna go pet the puppy. Oh, that's an alligator. Like, what are the odds, dude? Something was going down in that motel room, probably. Alleged avocado thief arrested for grand theft of fruit in Goleta. Alright, obviously I knew fruit was worth money because, you know, they can sell it, farmers grow it to make money, I get it. But I didn't realize that there was an entire business of thieves that are just going in and trying to steal stuff from these farms. He really said, look, okay, the life of crime is appealing to me. You know what else is appealing to me? What I'm gonna do to these avocados later to make some guac. I don't understand why you would ever be sitting there and be like, I'm bored, it's a Friday night, I feel like going and committing some grand theft of fruit from a local ranch. I didn't know grand theft of fruit was a crime, and I'm sure this guy didn't either, but here's the difference. I'm not the one committing it. You think he would have given it a quick Google search before he went out and started stealing avocados? Would have been able to find out it's a felony, maybe avoid it. But what's crazy is the police say that this guy had like a whole setup with a headlamp and everything for stealing avocados. Here's a photo of the trunk, I believe. It's on the news article, and as you can tell, homie's been busy. He probably does this on the nightly. He's become something of an expert avocado thief. Rumor has it that if he comes to your avocado farm, be prepared to have no avocados in 20 minutes flat. He's like Krampus, but for avocados. Alright, I'm hoping that his plan was to take these and sell them. Not that, like, I'm hoping that he steals them. But I would be more disturbed if that amount of avocados was purely for personal use. The police are like, all right, man, what are you doing with the trunk full of avocados? We know you're selling them, so where are you selling them? Who's your buyer? No, I just really love avocados. That only lasts me about a day. If I don't eat that many avocados, I have this curse put on me and I'll turn into a werewolf. And they're like, dude, you're telling me that you're eating 47 pounds of avocados a day? It's probably more than 47 pounds, to be fair. That's like a trunk full. Gas is getting expensive. You're really paying a pretty extra hefty price tag to be dragging that around. I'm pretty sure 300 pounds of avocados isn't great for the fuel efficiency. Oh, you know, these things happen. It's just part of the business of being an avocado thief. The cop who arrested him was probably hyped for the one reason that he got to write down that he was charging someone with grand theft fruit. I would assume that's one of those laws that for a long time most people looked at as like, you know, those super outdated laws that don't make sense? Oh, you can't ride a horse on Sunday. Like, that was probably what the grand theft fruit law was. Imagine being able to look at a person and go, listen, I'm gonna have to charge you with grand theft fruit today. And you're not stealing from the Apple store. It's for avocados. Is that what happens when you steal from the Apple store? Do you get hit with grand theft of fruit? A suspected avocado thief was charged with grand theft of fruit, among other charges, after he was caught with stolen avocados from a ranch in Goleta. It happened May 8th near a ranch in the 6900 block of Cathedral Oaks Road. I don't understand what his excuse could have possibly been either. Like, the cops pull up to a guy's ranch, and there's just this dude who doesn't own the ranch with a headlamp on, walking out of the avocado place with a bucket full of avocados. And then they're like, hey man, it looks like you're stealing avocados, so we're gonna search the car. They open the trunk and there's 500 pounds of avocados. It's just the most open and shut case of all time. One of the stupidest cases of all time, but pretty open and shut. As far as it goes to like being caught red-handed, the cops pulling up as you're loading the stolen merchandise into your trunk is pretty caught red-handed. I love how it points out there were other charges too. Guy was on an absolute crime spree, real GTA type character here. This would be something Trevor from GTA would do though. I really want some guacamole. Next thing you know, you like transfer to him from the GTA wheel and he's just in the middle of a field stealing avocados. Just such a bizarre thing to steal. I'm sure when it comes to profit margin, like if this guy is stealing stuff to resell it, avocados can't be that great. I mean, it is free, I guess. Any money is good money and you should never steal. But you would think if you're some hardened criminal with like this process for stealing avocados, you'd eventually realize that avocados aren't like a gold rush. Maybe I'm mistaken. Watch avocados basically be like the gold of farming. It's like that one show with the British dudes selling window blinds. You would never expect it, but they're just making bank. He's the kingpin of the avocado game. He's got a golden desert eagle with the avocado engraved on the slide. According to the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office, an officer found the suspect, 44-year-old Tim Rounds of Lompoc, near his car, which was stopped on the shoulder of the road. He was wearing a headlamp on his forehead and holding a bucket of avocados. That had to have been a bizarre sight. It's the middle of the night. You pull over to this weird car on the side of the road. You turn on your headlights, and there's a guy with a headlamp holding a bucket of avocados. I can explain. It's not what it looks like. You're like, well, all right, start explaining, because I don't know what this looks like. It's not a normal situation where I'm driving down the road and there's just a guy with a bucket of avocados looking suspicious. He really left the car on the side of the road. He's like, listen, I've done this a million times. I consider myself something of an expert on stealing the avocados. No one's going to see the car. It's not going to be a big deal. I'll be back with my headlamp before they know it. With this headlamp, this illumination, I can run through a dark avocado farm like Usain Bolt, baby. I've got so much illumination. I'm a speed demon out here with this headlamp on. He comes back, sees the cop car. All right, maybe I wasn't fast enough. I got to work on it. Grand theft of fruit. I would love to know the person that wrote that down. They had to have a specific law for fruit. Like, I'm pretty sure stealing is just already illegal. Why did they have to come out and specify it and add like a new subcategory of stealing, which is the fruit kind? Listen, you steal a TV? Okay, like whatever. I get it. You're going to steal TVs. That's a joke. Don't steal TVs. But like to decide to make some super specific law about stealing fruit is just really funny to me. During a search of the car, deputies discovered the trunk was full of avocados, and the ranch's owner was contacted and informed authorities that he didn't have permission to harvest avocados. Additionally, authorities recovered methamphetamine pipe and a bag of methamphetamine. And there it is. I get it now. See, we were confused. We were like, why would you end up in a field in the middle of a night with a headlamp to steal 400 pounds of avocados? It's just such a bizarre thing. Well, meth is one hell of a drug. I've never done meth, but I can't say I'm surprised that this guy was doing meth and then running out into the fields to try to steal avocados. It seems like a pretty meth thing to do. I've seen Breaking Bad. That makes me something of an expert myself. Jokes aside though, man, I guess if you've already got the meth in the car, you might as well get the avocados. Either way, there's illegal stuff in the car, you know? I hope no one takes my advice seriously in these videos. So no one actually go put meth in your car. The ranch owner getting woken up in the middle of the night. He's like, hey, I'm trying to get my beauty sleep. I have a ranch to run here. Hey, did you give this guy permission to put on a headlamp and steal a bunch of avocados? No, why would I do that? And they're like, we don't know, but he was saying he had permission, so we had to ask. Rounds was arrested for grand theft of fruit, which is a felony, possession of a controlled substance, which is a misdemeanor, and possession of drug paraphernalia, which is a misdemeanor. He was booked at the main jail and released without bail, and the stolen avocados have since been returned to the ranch owner. Wait, if they return this to the ranch owner, does that mean that some guy had to be responsible for going up to the trunk of this dude's car and picking out all the avocados from the trunk into a bag and then giving them to the ranch owner? That's so funny. Some dude got paid to just unload avocados from the trunk. I don't know why that cracks me up so much, bro, but just imagining some guy, he's like, man, when I signed up to be a police officer, I thought I'd be stopping bank robberies and stuff, and now I gotta unload avocados. This sucks. Overall, I would not recommend doing meth or stealing avocados. Those are two things that I think you should just not have on the bucket list. I'm not in charge of your life. I guess you can do what you want at the end of the day. However, don't be surprised if the SWAT team ends up at your house for you committing the felony of grand theft fruit. It's not a joke. You wouldn't download a car. You wouldn't steal an avocado. Just think about it that way. I always thought that PSA was stupid. You wouldn't download a car. Yeah, I would. If I could download like a Lamborghini. Oh, but that's pirating. Okay, I would have a Lamborghini though. But I would never steal fruit. That's way too far, guys. Grand theft of fruit, not even something to joke around about. I hope none of you guys are traumatized from this insane true crime story that we had to cover today. Would-be robber offers Davenport police officers $1 million not to arrest him. I love how it's would-be robber. Don't get it twisted, bro. I know you're trying your best out here to commit crime, but I don't think you have the $1 million to be bribing them, considering they stopped you in the middle of the robbery. I don't know where the funds are going to come from to be giving them $1 million, but I also feel like people that have $1 million just sitting in a bank account are not out there committing robbery, dude. Like, unless you live in Gotham, where for some reason every criminal has a bunch of money and still keeps committing crime, I don't think there's many places where millionaires are running around trying to steal people's purses. I also love how he's like, oh, I'll bribe the officers that just caught me in the robbery. They definitely will take the bribe. Dude, I don't know if you know this, but if they accept the bribe, they get in trouble too. A Davenport man, whom police say punched a woman in the face while trying to steal her purse, offered arresting officers $1 million bribe to let him go. Ricardo Esperanza, 49, is charged with second-degree robbery, a Class C felony that carries a prison sentence of 10 years, and bribery, a Class D felony that carries a prison sentence of 5 years. First, I hope the lady's okay. I mean, not only physically, but also, like, emotionally. Someone trying to steal your purse and punch you in the face has gotta be traumatic. But this guy's just an absolute loser, bro, because he's offering the police officers $1 million to let him go. Which, you know, let's be honest, there's no way he has the money. But in his mind, he said, I'm gonna offer these cops $1 million. All I did was punch some lady in the face. Pretty sure the cops are gonna arrest you even for $1 million bribe. You can't be running around punching people. But also, he thought the cops were going to believe that he had the $1 million. If you have the $1 million, then why are you running around trying to steal some lady's purse, dude? Like what, the $300 she has in her purse is gonna really switch up your $1 million bank account? Is this all you do? You're a professional purse snatcher? That's how you got your millions, was just constantly getting away with purse robbery and bribing the officers when they catch you? What a cringe lord, dude. No, you don't understand. I'll pay you $1 million if you let me get away with stealing this purse that has $200 in cash and a bunch of Starbucks gift cards. According to the arrest affidavits filed by the Davenport Police Corporals Christopher Hebel and Gregory Lala, at 8:05 p.m. on Tuesday, officers responded to the 1200 block of West 6th Street to investigate a report of a robbery. The victim was walking west in the alley south of West 6th Street in the 1200 block when Esperanza began following her. The victim turned towards Esperanza and he grabbed the straps of her purse, which was over her shoulder. He then punched the woman in the face as he was pulling on her purse, and he did not get the woman's purse and police were called, and the woman did not report any injuries. Alright, obviously I'm insanely glad the woman's okay. Like, what a G. Taking a punch to the face, still holding onto the purse, and then calling the cops and getting away. What an absolute unit. You're not getting this lady's purse. Criminals beware. She's a tough woman. Will absolutely 720 no-scope you in any type of combat. She really ate that punch like, I don't know, Mario eating a mushroom to give himself extra bonus powers. But this dude is such a loser, man. Like, it's just already cringe to rob people, to punch a lady in the face to try to get her purse. Dude, you're such a sack of turd. And listen, even though this guy is an absolute moron, I don't want anything good for him. The fact that the police were able to catch him means he's gotta not be very bright. Police take a while to respond to things. You know, you got a couple minutes. If you didn't get away with the robbery, why would you stay in the area? You should get out of there as fast as humanly possible. You know, I'm glad he didn't. I'm very glad he got caught, but clearly the dude's a moron. If he tries to steal this lady's purse, he doesn't get away with it, hears her call the cops and goes, nah, I'll stay around here. It's not like they're going to be able to find me. I think the police are going to be very concerned about a guy that's running around attacking people, dude. I don't think they're just going to give up on the search like you're a 1-star wanted level in Grand Theft Auto. Officers located Esperanza a short distance from the robbery scene, and after being read his Miranda rights, Esperanza was placed in the backseat of the squad car, and then he offered the officers $1 million to release him, not arrest him. He told the officers he could provide the money in cash or transfer the money into their bank accounts, and when the officer asked if he was trying to bribe them, he said that he was. I can't get over that this dude is supposedly a millionaire. He's really out here on that purse robbery flow, even though he's got a 7-figure bank account. And apparently more than $1 million, because if he's got $1 million to just be throwing around giving out, clearly he's got a lot more money than that. Why you robbing purses then, dude? It's just flabbergasting that he thought the police were ever going to be dumb enough to believe this or take the offer. You punched a lady in the face, dude. It doesn't matter if you have $1 million or not. You definitely need to take some type of punishment. It's so funny too. I'll give you $1 million not to arrest me. The cops, are you trying to bribe me? Now let's play the Jeopardy thing thinking music for a second. Dun, 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 dun. If the officers ask you if you're asking them to commit a felony, what you should do is shut up and say, no, I'm not trying to bribe you, officer, I'm sorry. What you don't do is look at the cop and say, yes, I'm trying to bribe you. They literally are telling him to look into the body camera and say it again. Excuse me, can you please look at this camera and very slowly say that you're trying to bribe me? I just want to make sure for my records that I have it, a copy of it for later in case you decide not to pay me. Oh yeah, no problem, I understand, it's for your records. I'm trying to bribe you. Bright side is it'll be a pretty open and shut case. They'll be in the courtroom and they'll be like, he ran away from the scene and when we arrested him, he offered us a bribe to not arrest him, which I'm not a lawyer, but I'm pretty sure implies guilt. Like the fact that you didn't think that you had a chance to fight it, you immediately starting to bribe officers, kind of implies that you knew you were up to no good. But this is going to be pretty open and shut, the robbery and the bribery. And I'm really glad that the woman is okay. Like I said, an absolute unit. For taking that punch on the chin, calling the cops, like kudos to her for real. Esperanza was booked into the Scott County Jail. During a first appearance Wednesday in Scott County District Court, Magistrate Jay Summers set his bond at $10,000 cash only and scheduled a preliminary hearing in the case for May 27th. Well, since he's got $1 million, the $10,000 bail should be absolutely no problem. Apparently the guy is just swimming in cash. Yes, I am trying to bribe you. Seriously, I don't really know what the dude was thinking. Clearly he wasn't. You shouldn't be going around robbing anyone. I understand I don't have to explain that to a lot of you. Hopefully I don't have to explain that to any of you, you know? Don't be running around punching people in the face and trying to take their purse. And if you do that and you get caught, just accept the fact that you got caught. Don't start trying to bribe the officers, especially when they say, are you trying to commit a felony? Don't pick secret option E and confirm that you're trying to commit a felony, because that's just the worst way to go about it. Why would you admit to a felony? Obviously, I'm glad that he was dumb enough to do that, because he seems like the type of guy running around punching people in the face. But goodness, on a general basis, the rule of thumb is don't tell the police that you committed a felony. I guess the reason I can call this the dumbest criminal, though, is because he didn't think it through, which, like I said, is probably good in this situation. It is good in this situation. There's no probably to it. I don't want people running around punching my mom in the face and taking her purse, so the more people that are punching people in the face stealing purses are taken off the street, the better. For real though, to the lady that ate the punch and held on to her purse, I would like you to make a class about how to defend yourself in these situations. I want to have the tenacity of that, dude. Maybe get into MMA fighting. You got like an iron jaw. You could probably make a butt ton of money boxing. Imagine this is the next Jake Paul fight and she just absolutely obliterates him. She's like, listen, dude, I've survived a robbery, all right? I'm not afraid of you, Jake Paul. And I understand the situation was scary, so I hope she's able to find a way to get over that. I think anytime you're like robbed, an attempted robbery, whatever, that's probably going to change the way you look at a lot of situations. So hopefully she finds a way to deal with that too. I don't want everyone to think it's all sunshine and rainbows just because she managed to hang on to the purse. Still though, tenacity of an absolute lion. And like a really big lion. Like a strong... She's the real hero in all of this. She really is. But I'm serious, leverage this into your career, okay? Fight Jake Paul, make a couple $1 million. He'll probably offer you to throw the fight. He'll give you a couple million if you throw the fight. You just flop on the ground, let Jake Paul say he won, make a huge fat stack, and then move somewhere safer. That's what I think the best situation is here, all right? You got to make lemonade out of the lemons life gives you, and this was a pretty crappy lemon. Robbery sucks. Well, leader of feces-eating cult arrested after 11 dead bodies discovered during raid. You know, that one might not rhyme as much, but it certainly is a classic. Seriously, though, when I saw that headline, I really didn't know what to think. Obviously, cults are not a good thing. There's a reason there's plenty of documentaries about like all the cults that have gone crazy. That being said, it's very different to think about a cult of the feces eating variety. How do you get people on board with that ever? You know, usually the cult goes to vulnerable people, gets them to join, makes them feel at home. I don't think eating feces is ever something I personally would feel comfortable or at home with, but hey, apparently this dude had a whole cult. Obviously, eating feces is not gonna do too well for you though, so I'm surprised it's only 11 dead bodies, you know? Thai police raided the compound of a suspected cult leader in the province on Sunday, discovering at least 11 dead bodies during the search. Local authorities were able to raid the compound after the group allegedly violated land encroachment laws and broke COVID-19 restriction laws. Law enforcement had already been made aware of the group after allegations were shared that the community had been consuming bodily fluids of the leader. After police made their way onto campgrounds, they then discovered the remains of 11 bodies in coffins. Obviously, I'm glad the police got in there. I'm glad this is coming to an end. I'm glad the cult is going to be no more. I don't think the feces eating cult is something we really need on the planet. But this is reminding me of like the way Al Capone ended up going to jail for tax evasion. Oh yeah, we ended up going into this compound because they broke some land encroachment laws. Next thing we know, there's 11 dead bodies because they've been eating the poop of the cult leader. Like, usually when there's some crazy cult leader going on, one of the things they try to do is say that they don't have to use the bathroom. I'm thinking about, like, the leader of North Korea that works so hard. Apparently, he never uses the bathroom. This guy just did the opposite. He's like, I'm always going to the bathroom and you just have to eat it. It's disgusting. It's disgusting, but I just really don't know how he managed to get anyone on board with it. Like, oh, yeah, you know how I'm the cult leader, right? Yeah. And you know how, like, everything I say is right? Uh-huh. I think you should eat my poop. I would be like, I take that back. I don't think you're right about all the things anymore. I'll be honest with you. I don't care what your logic is. I'm just not really down to be munching on the excrement personally. I've made a personal choice. This cult must have had the worst breath ever, dude. Imagine them giving you an order when you're like working at Subway. No, thank you, man. I'm honestly flabbergasted that it's only 11 people. Because if you really think about it, like, that's one of the most disgusting things you could do as far as getting sick goes. So the fact that they've just been eating this dude's excrement and only 11 of them have gotten so sick, kind of weird. Like, I don't know that it's any should be a normal amount. Like, obviously one person's way too many. One person eating it and not getting sick is way too many. But you would think if he's been force feeding this to his cult that more people would have gotten sick from it. However, the group was only able to provide death certificates belonging to 5 of the 11 deceased, and police have ordered autopsies to be conducted to establish the cause of death of the bodies. The suspected leader of the group has been detained for questioning, but before the arrest, many of his followers attempted to stop police from arresting the man during the raid. I mean, what did they expect the police to do in this situation? They come raid your cult, and then obviously there's more dead bodies than there are death certificates, so they gotta do something. I understand he's your cult leader, but come on guys, the cops' hands are kind of tied here. Just cult member things when you end up trying to fight off the police force to keep your cult leader from being questioned about all the dead bodies that are in your guys' cult compound. Just Tuesday, just another Tuesday hanging out with the boys, accidentally getting raided by police. Oops, they found the dead bodies. The questioning's gotta be bizarre, bro. They're gonna be like, did people eat your feces? And he'll be like, no. Well, you do realize that we're doing autopsies, so if it's related to that, we're gonna find out. And he'll be like, I never said they didn't eat feces, they just didn't eat my feces. Aha, you see, there's a difference. Still not understanding how he got this many people on board with it, really. Like, more people should have had the ability to go, nah, I'm not really tracking. Like, how does this make any sense? If you eat the poop of the cult leader, somehow you'll get magical powers or something? Why would his poop give you magical powers? I don't understand how the police are going to take any of this seriously while they're questioning me either. Like, if I was in charge of questioning him, I would just be laughing the entire time because I'm like, bro, you not only started a cult, like, you already have to be crazy to start a cult, but you started a cult of people that are supposed to eat your feces? Like, come on, man. You had hundreds of followers. You basically had to just, like, exist, and you would have been basically the closest thing to a demigod possible in the current age, like a cult leader. But you just had to make people start eating feces, man. Cult leaders are always crazy. I don't think cults should exist, but I'm just saying, you think he would have been a little bit more low-key about it. The strange group was known in the area to conduct themselves in a religious-like manner where devotees of the father, Thawi Nanra, 75, would do almost anything for the man. Some say he would force his followers to drink his urine, eat his feces, and consume dirt in order to heal physical illness. So they were doing all of this to heal their physical illnesses, like, oh man, I have a bad back, like I have chronic back pain. Hey dude, just drink this Gatorade bottle of my urine and it'll all be okay. Alright, man, like, kinda weird, but maybe if you're insanely desperate to heal your back pain, you do it. But why do you keep doing it when you drink it and nothing happens? Like, listen, there's no way the dude is actually magic. You're not chowing down on his feces and getting rid of the fact that, like, your ankle doesn't move anymore. There's no way. There's no way that, like, you know, you're blind and you drink this dude's urine and your sight comes back. So after you've eaten his waste or eaten dirt, like, why would you stay in the cult? It would be fairly obvious that something didn't work out, you know? Someone was lying somewhere, even if it would heal your physical illness. I'm just not understanding how so many people were on board with this. Like, he had an entire compound of people willing to fight cops to keep him from getting arrested. Were they still waiting on their order of urine, you know? Because, like, if you've been munching on this dude's feces and it's not getting better, then it should be obvious you're getting scammed. You shouldn't be going for seconds hoping that it'll be more magical the second time. If you want seconds, does he make you wait like 6 to 8 hours depending on the speed of his lower intestine? A snippet from television shows a woman who appears to be a member of the cult saying that she did not detect any unpleasant odor while consuming human waste. There isn't even an odor, the woman remarked. Only those with a tainted mind may smell it. If not wanting to eat feces means that I have a tainted mind, then I guess I have a tainted mind, you know? If anything, I think your mind would be a little bit of tainted to, like, accept the fact that that's what you're eating. I also refuse to believe there was absolutely no scent. I'm sorry, man. Unless this dude's got the greatest diet of all time, there is no way all of his waste is perfectly odorless. And even then, even if it is odorless, why eat it? Like, that doesn't mean you should eat it. There's plenty of things that are odorless. Oh, wow, do you see that urinal cake? Might as well give it a bite since it's odorless. Like, no, that makes no sense. Just because something has no smell doesn't mean it's edible magically. It still is human waste, even if it magically didn't smell, which I don't necessarily believe. You still know what it is. Like, you're still choosing to munch on that like it's a snack. And it's just not a snack, no matter how much you swear it doesn't smell. Fake DEA agent busted while trying to get discount at Wendy's in Bunnell, police say. David Stoner arrested on charges of impersonating a law enforcement officer. So like I said, he's just accused at the moment, but either way, I love the idea of like a real federal officer, man, a DEA agent, you know, strolling into a Wendy's and being like, listen, I demand a DEA discount. You guys better make my Wendy's 10% off. Obviously, I understand taking advantage of discounts, you know, is a part of like making money or whatever, you know, it's the smart thing to do. So I'm not going to fault anyone that's actually an agent for getting the discount that they actually should get. But I don't really know what might have been going through this dude's mind to flash a fake badge to say that he's a federal agent. Impersonating a federal officer, unless I'm wrong, is a felony. You know, I could be wrong on that. So it doesn't seem that worth it to just get a discount on your Wendy's. Like, dude, you're really going to flash a fake badge to try to get 3 cents off your 4 for $4 combo? Come on. And I think what's even worse is, like, as you can tell from the thumbnail, you know, he wasn't even flashing a fake DEA badge. No, he didn't even go through the trouble to get a fake DEA badge. He just had a concealed weapons badge, which I don't know if states give those to you when you get your concealed carry permit. I've never heard of that, so he might have just, like, bought a badge if he has a CCW permit, but he was just flashing one of those. So, like, obviously the people in the Wendy's are gonna realize that it doesn't say DEA on it. I just don't really understand what the dude could have been thinking. Like, unless the staff at the Wendy's was literally a group of people that had never seen a badge before in their life, there's no way that they would have thought that was a DEA badge. They just look completely different. I'm gonna put the difference on screen. I'll put both of them up, dude. Imagine some guy trying to show you the other one and being like, I'm a DEA agent. A man trying to get a discount on his fast food order is accused of impersonating a DEA agent, according to Bunnell police. David Stover, 57, was arrested Monday at the Wendy's at 2570 Commerce Parkway. Alright, it's already embarrassing enough to be pretending to be an agent, dude. Flashing your badge at a Wendy's is literally the most embarrassing way you could go about it, you know? That's what he's accused of. But I'm just saying, like, this is the definition of, sir, this is a Wendy's. He's just going off about how, like, I, myself, took down Pablo Escobar and his entire cartel, and you're gonna deny me the discount at this Wendy's establishment? And they're like, we're going to call the cops. And he goes, fine, I'll stay and talk to the cops. Like, listen, I feel like things are are already not going your way if you're getting into an argument at a fast food place that is escalating to the point of the cops getting called. But I especially don't understand why he, with his fake badge, stayed until the cops came. Like, alright, you know, he's been telling them that he's a DEA agent and that's why he needs a discount on food. They tell him, hey, we called the cops, and he just hangs out in the lobby to wait until the cops show up. Did he think they weren't gonna check his badge or check into his story? He was just gonna be like, nah, see, you know, you guys are cops, I'm a DEA agent, similar vibe, and they were gonna be like, oh yeah, we're not gonna check into that at all. I'm just really not understanding it. And all over a Wendy's discount? Listen, I'm not hating on Wendy's. I enjoy Wendy's, but it's not a restaurant that's worth getting arrested over. Like, you can just go to a different Wendy's. I just don't understand the need to let any argument escalate to the point of the cops getting called, especially if you're in a situation where you're carrying a fake badge impersonating a federal officer. It's just really not a good idea to stick around when the cops are called or be in an argument that escalates to that point. You don't understand, okay? I own this Wendy's. It's a front for a government operation to secretly fund clandestine DEA coups. Officers said Stover was demanding a law enforcement discount and started threatening to report staff to corporate for not giving it to him. According to police, Stover was a regular at that Wendy's for the past 2 years. Workers said he used to get a discount at the restaurant because he had a friend who was a cashier there, and according to the arrest report, when the worker left the job, Stover started claiming he was a law enforcement officer. The manager at the store told investigators that Stover would often tell workers he was an undercover DEA agent and would occasionally flash a badge when asked for proof, the report stated. Alright, so, okay, this is just what I'm understanding from that. So he was a regular for 2 years, and when his friend was there, he was getting a discount, and he's not a DEA agent. So at 55, he's not a DEA agent. His friend leaves, now he starts flashing a badge saying he's a DEA agent, okay? So you switched careers at 57, and you just happened to join the DEA as a secret agent. Okay, alright, okay, I'm understanding more and more why the workers were so insistent to just not give him his discount and send him on his way. It's like, dude, I've literally known you for 2 years and you've never mentioned being an agent, and now all of a sudden you're like a secret government operative? Well, yeah, exactly, so give me my discount. No, I'm not gonna give you your discount, dude. Like, what, are you crazy? You expect me to believe this? I'm sorry, man, but I just am really not understanding what the plan was. Especially flashing a badge that has nothing to do with it. Like, I feel like if anything, that just kind of escalates the situation. I feel like if you're like, I'm a DEA agent, and they say, no, you're not, and you're like, oh, okay, I was kidding. It's not that big of a deal. But if you start flashing a badge, it becomes like, okay, now you're just kind of impersonating an officer. How are you going to convince people that have known you for years that you're magically a secret agent, man? I just really want to know what goes through your mind before you make that decision. Listen, okay, I've seen all the James Bond movies 37 times. I can convince anyone of anything. I'm a master of deception. Investigators said Stover denied ever claiming to be a DEA agent. However, he did admit to carrying a concealed carry permit badge, which he claimed to show the employees because they asked to see it. Stover faces a charge of impersonating a law enforcement officer. Alright, so obviously he's denying it, but I'm just imagining this entire court case over like a Wendy's discount. Dude, I'm telling you, this in the last video I made is just like the amount of money that we are paying for the courts to look over these cases when it's just so absurd. Obviously, impersonating a federal officer itself is a crime they got to investigate. Like, I get it. But all of this over a Wendy's discount, whether or not he's guilty, the argument still progressed to the point where they called the cops. And if he's not guilty, like if they are making this up, then an argument over a Wendy's discount escalated to the point where the entire store decided to just make up a story about him pretending to be a DEA agent over and over. So no matter the outcome, whether he is pretending to be a DEA agent for Wendy's discounts or whether or not the Wendy's made it up, this is insane. Like, this is just not something that should happen over fast food, and like fast food. This isn't even like a really above average burger, nothing against it. It's just like, you're gonna pretend to be an agent over Wendy's? And also imagining everyone in this Wendy's banding together and being like, all right, guys, let's pretend that he lies about being a federal agent. Like, this entire thing is just, it's like an episode from a TV show. It's not something that should have ever been in reality. But yeah, the definition of, sir, this is a Wendy's, ma'am, this is a Wendy's, came to fruition. I would not recommend pretending to be a federal officer in any circumstance, especially for a fast food discount. Alright, general rule of thumb, I really wouldn't recommend ever stealing a skid loader and trying to use it to run from the police. For those of you that don't know what a skid loader is, it's like construction equipment, you know, and sure, it's got an engine, but the odds of you actually getting away from like a car or even somebody fast on foot is slim to none. But apparently for some people, a skid loader's just too much to allegedly resist. Green Bay man charged with stealing skid steer in OWI after neighborhood chase. I just love that this guy was like chilling walking down the street, saw a skid loader, decided to steal it. Just a very random thing to steal. But then also when the police get behind him, instead of being like, oof, can't outrun a car, that's a bad idea, he still decides to try to take it on the chase around the neighborhood. All you're doing at that point is guaranteeing that you're gonna get punished more, because they're gonna catch you, you know what I mean? Like, could you imagine how embarrassing it would have been if this article was Green Bay police lose man slowly escaping on skid loader, population wonders how? Like seriously, it's a bright yellow piece of construction equipment. Chances are this thing would have been very impossible to lose. I don't know why you expected running to go well. You are going to get caught. You know, this is the equivalent of like stealing a kid's tricycle and then the police getting behind you and you're like, let's push it into gear and start pedaling really fast. No matter how much you want that tricycle to be faster than the cars, it's just not gonna happen. This man was charged Friday with Thursday's theft of a skid steer from a Northland mall, which led to a low-speed pursuit in Appleton and Grand Chute. The 37-year-old was charged with his fourth OWI, operating motor vehicle without owner's consent, and attempting to flee or elude an officer. Police initially said he was from Appleton, but the criminal complaint system says his current address is Green Bay. I just don't really understand how anyone gets 4 or OWIs, dude. Like, you would think, you know, getting one is already weird. 4? At what point are you just gonna realize that stuff in driving and operating a motor vehicle just doesn't really go together? I also love how this guy was like apparently over by the mall, saw a piece of construction equipment and just decided to drive it around town. Like, what a random way to spend your Thursday night. What'd you guys do? Oh, you know how it is. Joyrode some construction equipment. You know when like the police saw it driving on the road, they were already confused enough, dude, and then it starts a low speed chase. I love the description of that. Could you even call it a chase if it's at a low speed? It's more just like, you know, slowly following. Sure, in his mind, it's probably like 80 miles an hour. He thinks he's in a movie. He's like shifting gears on the skid loader. But I would be surprised if it wasn't just the police cruiser following behind at like 5-6 miles per hour with the lights on. Sir, please pull over the skid loader. You are not in a construction zone. He's like throwing cones out of the front of the skid loader that were in there or something. I've just never necessarily wanted to take one of those things on the road. Like, listen, I'm not saying construction equipment isn't cool. Obviously, every little kid is like, dump truck for a reason. It's pretty dope. That being said, not once have I ever like looked at, you know, a backhoe and said, I'd love to take this baby to the Indy 500. This thing could speed, I betcha. Like, listen, there's nothing about construction equipment that says super fast and fun to joyride and take on a police chase. I'm just not really understanding why this is what you'd pick. Like, if you are going after some weird thrill, I just don't understand stealing a car in general. But if you are gonna go steal a car, it's like, I'm gonna go on a high-speed chase in something that can only go 12 miles an hour. This is one of those stories that the cops are gonna tell and no one's gonna believe them. They're gonna be like, what's the weirdest thing you've ever seen? Well, one time there was this guy driving a skid loader down the road and he made us follow him for 6 miles before he finally ran out of gas, and yeah, he said he thought he was gonna outrun us. No way anyone's that stupid. You have to be exaggerating. It's like, no, not for real. Allegedly, obviously, at this point. The skid steer was reported stolen from the mall after 7:30 a.m. The maintenance employee said he tried to follow the tracks while police were looking at security videos. The maintenance worker came in and said it was back and driving behind the mall. The skid steer spun around to avoid an approaching police car, and when squad cars tried to block the exit, he drove onto the grass and headed into a residential area. Listen, man, I'm not saying I'm a criminal mastermind, alright? I'm an idiot. That being said, I'm pretty sure one of the rules they say is to never return to the scene of the crime, dude. You stole the skid loader and then came back in the morning. Like, if you did steal it in the middle of the night, you probably could have brought it back before anyone noticed. 7:30 is probably a little bit outside of the window of nobody noticing that thing's gone, though. You know what I mean? You're already playing a risky game stealing it in the first place, but coming back to the scene of the crime when people are definitely looking for it seems dumb. I also love how this is just such a GTA move, bro. Like I said, you're just caught. If 2 squad cars are watching you in the stolen skid steer, it's kind of done, bro. They're just gonna like walk after you. It's over. This guy's like shifting into gear, going into the residential areas, taking sharp turns, you know? Everybody watch out! Everybody has like 45 minutes to get out of the way because it's just not going that fast. Listen, man, I'm not saying that like stealing a skid steer isn't a big deal, because obviously it's a piece of construction equipment. They're
not cheap. Stealing that sucks and can cause a lot of delays to construction. It's not great for the business. But I just really don't understand, like, why you would even want to steal one in the first place other than the fact that it is expensive. The fact that this guy was bringing it back to the mall makes me think that it wasn't like stealing it to sell it, because then why would you bring it back? You know, I'm not this guy, but so far it's kind of looking like he was just trying to joyride this particular machine all night and then bring it back. Maybe he's trying to get certified on skid loaders or something, needed a little bit of practice. But overall, I'm just like, who joyrides a skid loader? You know, if anything, you shouldn't steal one, but if you stole one and sold it, it would make a little bit of sense as to why you did it. Just stealing it for a couple hours, bringing it right back, driving it into the grass when the cops definitely got you cornered. It's just an interesting move. Police said the driver appeared to keep slumping over, so they called an ambulance while they tried to stop him. The skid steer eventually headed down railroad tracks, and then they spotted it doing donuts in a field off Gillette Street. They say they had to forcibly remove him with the skid steer with the help of a police dog. According to the complaint, officers found a piece of tinfoil with white powdery substance in the cab of the skid steer, and police said from their experience they thought it was cocaine, but there wasn't enough left to test. Alright, obviously I don't know if he had cocaine on him. Nobody does. There's nothing left to test. We'll never know. That being said, I think it would explain a little bit of the donuts while the police are chasing you. For all I know, he could just be a savage. Like I said, no way to know. He probably didn't have cocaine. That being said, bro, if he did, you know, that's what might make you do donuts while the police are chasing you. I love that. He went onto the railroad tracks and low-key did lose them for a bit, but then he had to blow it by just doing donuts in the middle of the field, man. I also love how he just didn't give up. Like, the police had him surrounded in the field, the dog's there. He's like, no, I'm just not gonna get out. Like, bro, at some point you do realize that they're going to get you out of there. You can't just live your rest of the life in the skid steer. Watch me. He's got like a bucket to poop in, you know, and enough granola bars to last a while. I just am not really understanding the plan, you know. It would make sense to me if there was something involved, but that being said, I'm an idiot. This is all alleged, and you know, if there's not enough left for the police to test for it, then in the court of law, he was not on anything and didn't have anything on him. I just think this entire story is wild, bro. This guy's out here in GTA. Isn't this something you do in Grand Theft Auto? Like, you get rid of the cops for a bit, and then you just go and start doing donuts in a field, you know, just in your supercar. Only difference is instead of a Lamborghini, he had a skid steer, but the vibes were similar. This entire ordeal reads like something that you would see in a South Park episode, you know? Like, not in a bad way, but, you know, Randy, like, this is something Randy would do. Just steal a skid steer and then, like, go on a police chase, be doing donuts, and then when he gets caught, he's like, I didn't do anything wrong. This is my right as an American. That skid steer had the keys of the ignition. What was I supposed to do? Not steal it? All right, so first things first, I want to do a disclaimer. You should never take a dead body to the pensions office and try to get a pension. I just feel like, you know, if you're the type of person that needs a disclaimer to not pose a dead body, you're probably too far gone. Everybody else on the normal side of, like, everything else is like, yeah, why would you ever take a dead body to the pensions office? These guys just thought that they had figured out the hack to infinite free money. Sure, they might think it's weird that he's still 185 collecting his pension, but we'll be rich and they'll be none the wiser. I just don't really know why you decide, like, in the 5 minutes after Grandpa died to just go get his paycheck. You know, you seem a little bit too money-focused if that's problem number one. A dead man was brought to a post office this morning in an attempt to collect his pension in one of the most bizarre incidents that Gardai has ever seen. The shocking incident in which the deceased male was propped up by two other men happened at the post office on Stapletown Roads in Carlow Town. Staff at the post office immediately became suspicious and contacted emergency services, and Gardai rushed to the scene. Obviously, from the first second of reading the headline, you could have assumed this was not a very well thought out plot, but I feel like it's especially not well thought out if the second you walked into the office, everyone went, oh my god, there's two guys carrying a dead body here trying to get a pension. You know, at least in Weekend at Bernie's, which for those of you that don't know is an 80s movie about people using this, like, dead guy's body to throw parties at his house. Really weird concept for a movie. They were, like, trying to make it look like he was alive. These dudes just really carried him in there, peeled open his eyes, were like making his mouth talk with their hand. No, I'm fine. I'm here to get my pension. You know, I'm just imagining how obvious it must have been if literally everybody there was like, oh my gosh, calling the services. You know, when they called like the 911 version that they've got over there, they were like, wait a second, you're telling me that two dudes just carried a dead guy into the post office.
I don't know, man, something's wrong with him. Either he's comatose or something, but yeah. And they're like, okay, sure, man. It's not even April 1st yet. I don't know why everyone's trying to mess with us. They get there, sure enough, there's just actually this scheme going on. I feel like, there's a lot easier ways to get money other than, like, digging up Grandpa and carrying him to the post office, Maybe in their grief, they were just doing things that other people wouldn't understand, dude. I just don't really know why you would just see Grandpa's dead body and first things first be like, bag collection imminent. Y'all thought it was over. Ahaha, I got Grandpa's pension. No money was handed over, and it's understood that the deceased man is well known to the two men who moved his body. A local woman living beside the post office told her how her daughter witnessed the two men carrying a man into the shop. She was leaving my house and said the man looked unwell and his feet were dragging on the ground. Well, on the bright side, I guess this lady's daughter can consider herself a health expert. She saw a dead body and went, ooh, he doesn't look too good. I mean, she wasn't wrong though, was she? He probably was not feeling too good. I also love how the article feels the need to point out that, like, the old man was very well known to the two men who were carrying him in. I don't know if that actually makes this situation better or worse. Like, is it better if they dug up a stranger's grandpa and took him to the pensions office to get, some money? Or is it worse because it's their grandpa? Either way, it's horrible. But on one hand, you're like, ooh, you did this to a stranger. On the other hand, it's like, that's your grandpa? I don't know. Regardless, I just love that they felt the need to specify that, because it doesn't actually make any of this better. Regardless, you're still the dude who tried to take a dead body to the post office to get some money out of it. I mean, honestly, dude, I don't even know how they thought that this was going to go well for them. Like, seriously, they had to have just watched Weekend at Bernie's or something and thought that the entire world just was not going to question anything about this. It's bad if people start questioning you and you're not even at the post office yet. Like, if people are just walking out of their house and being like, what is wrong with that dude? He looks horrible. Your plan's gonna fail. And if your plan at any point involves using a dead person to convince people to give you money, just quit the plan, because it's weird and you shouldn't do it. The woman, who did not want to be named, said there was a queue outside of the post office at the time. It's a small shop and you're only allowed in there 3 at a time with social distancing, and people were in shock as they thought he was having a heart attack, she said. I love that they went to a place with a line too, dude. Like, each update just gets dumber and dumber. The entire plan, absolutely stupid. The fact that they saw a line outside and said, well, whatever, we'll just wait in line with this dead guy and nobody's gonna catch on. Like, dude, do you think literally nobody pays any attention ever? These dudes have to have played enough GTA where they think that people in public are as stupid as Grand Theft Auto NPCs if they actually thought this was ever going to work. And even then, dude, like, it's just so bizarre to me because, like, I don't know, maybe I'm weird for this. The idea of dead bodies freaks me out. I do not want to be near one. I especially don't want to be carrying one and, like, holding it up in line. No, thank you. I didn't realize that was a weird thing to feel. Oh yeah, Grandma died sick, dude. If we prop her up in the front window for at least 6 more months, we can keep getting her social security checks. It's like, or, okay, you could just, like, not do that to Grandma. And, you could not just be carrying around dead bodies places and posing it in areas. I feel awful for the staff. They suffered so many robberies over the years, they're worn out. I've got a 12-year-old daughter. I'm trying to explain to her what happened, and I'm not sure where you even start. It's awful. Dude, imagine being the workers here. I didn't even think about that. I was just thinking about the people in line, the people that had to witness all of this. But, like, imagine being the person that had to look at them and go, no, I'm not going to give you the check for the pension. The guy's obviously dead. Like, that's got to mess you up, bro. I'm sorry. You never expect to be seeing stuff like that when you get the job at the post office, If you're a paramedic, you just kind of got to accept the fact that you're going to see some, like, messed up body parts or whatever. Comes with the territory. You don't really expect to have to be interacting with dead bodies when you picked your career as a mailman, You were like, awesome, I'm gonna deliver the mail, rain, sleet, or snow, it doesn't matter where we go, baby. But now you're out here having to tell this dude that, no, you can't crash in or cash in Grandpa's pension after he's kicked the bucket. And I especially don't understand robbing the post office, all right? I didn't even realize that the post office was a place that had money in it. They're like, they've dealt with so many robberies. You're telling me that someone robbed the post office and then was like, hey man, I got $200 in stamps, and then went and did it again? My goodness, I didn't realize that stamp collecting was coming back in so much popularity that people were literally breaking into post offices.
if you rob a post office, that might be the most lame thing you could rob. You know, I disagree with robbing things in general, but like, you know, there's a certain art to stealing from a casino or something. Stealing from a post office is like the finger painting of robberies. Mayor of Carlo Fianna Fáil, Councillor Ken Murnane, expressed shock at the news. I heard there was a commotion in the post office, he said this evening. I go by there all the time and it's not busy. Normally there's a queue out the door. I was absolutely shocked to hear about what happened. I can't believe anyone would think something like that. It beggars belief. I'm shocked. Well, dude, yeah, what did they expect the mayor to say? You know, like there's sometimes you see a headline and you're like, obviously this is not good. People shouldn't do this, you know? And then they're like, what do you think, mayor? Well, what do you think they think, dude? Do you think that they're suddenly super in favor of people taking dead bodies to the post office, you know? It's insane that we live in a time that you have to clarify that you're like, oh, yeah, don't do this. It's bad to take dead people to the office. We should just all be in agreement that this is bad, you know? Mayor, what are your thoughts on the maniac running around biting off people's noses? I don't like that, personally. I don't like to bite off people's noses. Wow, thank you. Thank you for saying that. It's like, you know, man, I just feel like there's certain things we can all agree is shocking, and a dead body being taken into the post office to try to get the pension is definitely up there as something we agree is shocking. Honestly, though, my question is, are they gonna get in any trouble for this? Like, are they just like, oh, you guys, you hooligans trying to cause a ruckus at the post office, you goofballs, go put him back in his grave, you silly billies? Or like, is there a crime for this? I'm assuming this has gotta be illegal somehow. I mean, I'm not an expert on law, but I feel like taking a dead body somewhere and trying to use it to like get their money has to be illegal. You know, it's gotta be some type of fraud, right? Because, you know, if somebody takes me to the ATM after I'm dead and like it uses my fingerprint, because I'm assuming by then future technology is going to be all there to withdraw all of my money, I'm not cool with that, bro. Okay, yeah, it's my body, but like, hey, I'm not down. I just feel like at a certain point you gotta be like, hey, it's probably not worth the bag. Anyways, guys, I think that's gonna do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, I would really appreciate you taking a second to press the like button. Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought. And of course, subscribe if you're new and turn on those notifications. I post a video like this just talking about something weird or random every day. So yeah, subscribe if you're new. Other than that, link to the intro song down below. There's also a link to my podcast, The Scuffed Cast, or you could use code Scrubby at the G Fuel checkout. It's a way to get a discount on G Fuel, and it helps me out. I'd appreciate it. The other two things in the description. First is a link to my Spotify show. If you want to listen offline or, you know, just listen on Spotify, a link to that will be at the top of the description. And the last link's going to be a link to my merch store. If you want to go ahead and get yourself the coolest t-shirt to ever exist, a link to that's going to be down there, so be sure to go do it. And yeah, on that note, that'll do it for the video, guys. Thank you so much. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace.
Alright, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrubby here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. Basically, a group of people in Florida ended up breaking into an $8 million mansion and throwing a huge rager that destroyed the entire house. And you're probably thinking, wow, that's insane that they got away with that. The only issue is, during the party, everyone was posting videos and pictures on Snapchat. So now the police are just like posting all the Snapchat videos, asking people to identify them. And I just think it's nuts. Don't break into an $8 million house for a house party. But especially if you're at a house party where you broke into the house, don't take videos and pictures and post them online. It's like people just love to snitch on themselves now. Snapchat was the best thing the FBI ever invented. No, you don't understand. They'll just post their crimes for everyone to see. It's the greatest. $8 million home broken into for a house party documented on social media. Oh yeah, guys, let's break into a mansion. I feel like a mansion's gonna have better security than most places, and the owner of the mansion is going to be insanely pissed if you break into it and trash it for a party. Plus, this is just one of those things where the risk reward doesn't seem that good. Like, okay, the risk is you get arrested for, I don't know, burglary, breaking and entering, a whole litany of crimes. The reward is, I don't know, you're known for committing the crime. Like, you're the guy that broke into the mansion and threw the party, but then everyone's talking about how you're the guy that broke into the mansion and threw the party, so you're probably going to get charged for the breaking and entering. It just does not seem worth the calculation in my head. And what especially makes it even stupider to me is just the photos that they posted not even trying to hide their face. Like, okay, some stuff was stolen, and here's a dude who posted a selfie with a bunch of the rings on. As you can tell, made sure that his face was clearly in view of the picture. What an absolute criminal mastermind. And listen, I'm not saying that this guy took anything from the house. Who knows? He might have just taken the selfie. Someone else could have taken things. Like, who knows? But what is known is that you're the guy in the selfie with the stuff from the house. So at the bare minimum, the police know you're involved and they're asking you questions. A sheriff's office is trying to identify the people responsible for breaking into a multi-million-dollar home and throwing a large party. The Walton County Sheriff's Office posted about the incident Monday afternoon, saying deputies were called to the home in watercolor early Saturday morning, and they received a noise complaint from security for the unincorporated community located on the northwest Gulf Coast of Florida. Of course, it's Florida. You guys know the drill. It's not a real Scrubby day unless one of the videos takes place for some reason in the state of Florida, dude. Everything goes down there. I love how the police are like, oh, we need help identifying the people. You're telling me that you don't know who they are when they posted the selfie? I mean, probably had no record or something, but still, it should be relatively easy to track this down. I don't really know what these kids expected. We're gonna break into a huge multi-million-dollar mansion, all right? We're gonna trash it, throw a huge party. We're going to get a noise complaint because we're in a really bougie, fancy community, and we're gonna post selfies the entire time. Like, did you really think no one was gonna call the cops on the insane house party on the house that's supposed to be empty? Yeah, I swear the guy doesn't live there anymore, but there's some insane party going on. I guess some teenagers ended up buying the $8 million mansion, probably with their fancy schmancy crypto. Yeah, I think they were going to be catching on pretty quick. In fact, if the security guard in the neighborhood went by, he would have known too. I think it's probably the security guard's job to make sure everybody there is supposed to be there. Oh wow, 80 cars in front of a mansion that's supposed to be abandoned. Nothing suspicious there. That loud music is probably just the ghost getting groovy. Here's another one of the pictures that was in the article. There was a bunch more, but, you know, not hiding their faces at all. Hey guys, look at us. OMG, we broke into this mansion. We're so quirky. It's nuts that they just kind of posted this on a public story on any social media and expected nobody to like screenshot it or notice it. I feel like everybody has at least one person on their social media that would show it to someone, that would say something. Like, there's no way everybody that you're friends with on social media is super cool with the idea of you breaking into mansions and throwing a party. And especially because stuff ended up going missing from the house. I don't know if anyone in any of the pictures had anything to do with that. I'm not accusing them of anything, but especially knowing that is out there when they blast all these out saying that they're looking for these people to answer questions about what's missing, someone's gonna say something, man. Like, if you're going to do insanely stupid things, I've never understood the desire to post them as publicly as human possible. Hey guys, just stole a car, LOL, on my way to rob a bank now. Like, what are you doing, man? You just shouldn't do it, period. It's a bad idea to break into a mansion. But if you are going to do it, why post the incriminating evidence on the internet? Oh, hey, we definitely want to get caught for this. Maybe it's just all for attention from the parents or something, but there has to be some logical explanation why these people were just so dumb. And what really sucks is there probably is no logical explanation. It's probably just like, oh no, I thought it was cool. An open house party is against the law, the sheriff's office said in a new release. An open house party is a home you break into and it's a burglary. The homeowners were not aware of the party, according to the sheriff's office, and the sheriff's office stated when deputies arrived, most of the people left the scene. Since then, videos are circulating on Snapchat, Instagram, and other social media platforms with some of the highlights, including where some of the people turn the foyer of the $8 million home into a boxing ring. I mean, anytime you get a huge crowd of people into any situation and like they're already breaking the rules, mob mentality is going to kick in. I'm not surprised that they ended up establishing a boxing ring in the middle of the mansion. Duh, it was a giant party. Someone was going to get into a fight. And on top of it, like, dude, remember the time we boxed in the mansion, man? That was so sick. I love how they're still sharing the videos. You know, like at the time of the party, maybe you get caught up in the moment and you post it. It's still really stupid. I don't get it. But the fact that they're still sharing and circulating them, even though the cops are just saying that they're looking for everybody involved, goes to show how poorly thought out this was. Hey guys, did you see that the cops are looking for these videos? 18 attachments. It's just all the videos the cops are looking for. Sure am glad we recorded all of these since we were all involved. They just add 911 to the group chat. Please do not come look for us. We had nothing to do with the party. Like, man, dude, these people seriously are not criminal masterminds. Obviously, anyone who breaks into a mansion to throw a party isn't, but goodness gracious, it's almost embarrassing how much they just incriminated themselves. Videos posted by the sheriff's office showed people boxing in the home, and deputies said the home was damaged during the party and items were stolen. Apart from the damage caused and items stolen, it's a complete violation of someone's home that you can't put a price on. The sheriff's office stated that the feeling when you know someone went into your closet, tried on your clothes, and used your bathroom doesn't have a dollar amount attached to it, especially in a place where you're supposed to feel safe. Yeah, it would definitely be uncomfortable knowing that like thousands of strangers were in my house, especially if I had a mansion. Like, oh, thousands of people just know where this mansion is, the layout of it, and then I have a bunch of expensive things here. Yep, I'm supposed to feel perfectly safe, like it's just basically waiting till somebody robs you. And maybe that's just me being paranoid. In fact, I'm like 95% sure that's me being paranoid. But still, no one would like knowing that their home was broken into, and I think it would add insult to injury that your home was broken into for something as dumb as just a random house party. And not even by smart people, but by people that just posted the videos of them doing it online. Like, oh, okay, so not only did you guys break into my house, but you were dumb about it, and now I feel unsafe. It's just the trifecta of suck. If you were there, know someone who were there, were invited, knows who circulated the flyers for the party, because we know about that too, you're asked to come forward. Do yourself a favor and let us know. Come clean and give us the information we need to hold those responsible. And then they say where to contact them. I'm not advocating snitching, but someone's going to snitch. There was just too many people at that party for everyone to keep their mouth shut, especially now that they've posted this. Someone's parents gonna know they were at the party and think their kid's gonna get in trouble and make them say something. There's just too many people involved for you not to get in trouble, especially when you've been posting your face online. There's no plausible deniability. That's not me. Oh, this selfie of you in the house is not you. Like, it's just not gonna work very well. Anytime there's this many moving parts, there's just no way it's gonna stay as secret as it should or needs to stay. So if you were involved, then good luck. Hopefully you didn't post the selfies of you there. And now that everybody knows someone's gonna say something, it's just gonna be a race for everyone to say something first so they can get like the best deal and avoid the most trouble. So yeah, good luck. Seriously, don't know why you would want to break into an $8 million house to throw a party. You're just gonna get yourself in massive amounts of trouble. Definitely not worth it. Would not recommend. And if you are going to do it, don't post it on the internet and incriminate yourself. If you do anything illegal, then just don't post it on Instagram. I thought that was obvious. I thought that was just something everybody knew, but apparently not. But yeah, on that note, guys, I think that'll do it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you really enjoyed, I appreciate y'all taking a second to press the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments section down below. And of course, subscribe if you're new and turn on notifications. I usually post 2 videos a day on this channel, so if you like this content, subscribe and turn on the noties. This is going to be the only video today. I've got something later today. I'm not going to have time to make 4 videos today. So, yeah. Tomorrow, though, back to the double uploads. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. I'm out. Peace.